Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Animecast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
Today's episode is a review slash it's something new. I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's just the Otaku Spirit Animecast. Yes, to give people an update here, for those that missed like all the posts that I made on literally every single platform, apparently there's still people that are not aware of this. Yes, we have changed our schedule for the Otaku Spirit Animecast. We're switching to a monthly release, so the idea here is to kind of shift it so that we can kind of condense the podcast a little more, give us a little breathing room because there's a lot of things happening right now, IRL. But I hope that with the new schedule of once a month, we can sort of condense it and, bring better product to people. So it's like there's a downside to our kind of shifting schedule from weekly, which honestly, I'm surprised we kept it up for, 15 years?
Yeah, something like that.
There's a downside to switching from weekly, and that's the idea that you guys don't get something every single week. But at the same time, that means that we can more focus and zero in on, these single episodes per month that are, a lot more fulfilling for people. The other side is that this isn't like 100% this is how it's going to be from now on. It's kind of a test bed to kind of test things out, see if it kind of works better for us, and again, provides a proper meal for people as a podcast. Everybody's like, so that means you're going to make it like 5 hours long, right? I'm like, that would defeat the whole point of the weekly being a bit too much, is to kind of scale back a little bit. But yeah, the reason why I was messing up with what to call the podcast episode is really because it's not a discussional, it's not a review, it's not a first impression, it's not a preview. We're going to kind of shift to every single podcast is going to be more like a layout where it's sectioned. It's the different parts of it is going to play out. So I'm hoping to probably do talk about anything you want to talk about first, a lot of the discussional type layout that we had before, where it's like, again, introductions and talk a little bit, go into new stuff, but then we're going to tack on to that reviews, first impressions and stuff like that, which, yes, that does mean that we're not going to cover every single show anymore. It's going to be what we want to talk about. And I think that actually might be a good thing, because I felt for a while now, since there's so many damn shows, it comes down to that idea that we're literally talking about 60 damn shows over a course of 4 weeks, and a lot of it's just not interesting to talk about, which, yeah, for a lot of people that want to be completionists and hear about every single show, it sucks, but I think for the most part, it'll help us kind of zero in and give the shows we want to talk about a proper talking. And so we will be doing for one of the months, we'll have, all the shows that we want to review. Well, then next month we'll do all the shows that we want to do first impressions on. I still would like to do previews, but I'm not sure yet, because that's essentially going to be turning into, technically 3 podcasts per season, but we'll fill it out. We'll fill it out. But again, that's to update people. I had a few people still contacting us like, where's the episodes? I haven't had an episode in a while. I'm like, oh man, you missed the 15 posts I made in different locations. I'm sorry. I knew some people were going to slip through the cracks. I probably should have announced it on the last podcast, but it wasn't 100% decided at that point, and that's kind of what threw it off. And I meant to put a little video audio into the feed just to kind of update people, but I apologize for those that actually missed all the posts. But yeah, that's the update. So with that said, let's kick things off.
Okay.
Talk about the news that seems important to us, that should be important to people before we get into our reviews. We'll be talking about, I think, Apothecary Diaries. I think you want to talk about Tabat.
A little bit.
I do want to talk about Apothecary. I hate it. The season's over. I don't have to worry about this anymore. I've been so bad with Apothecary Diaries and Apocalypse Hotel. The two of them, for my brain, I want to talk about Apocalypse Hotel. You kind of want to talk about To Be Hero X, which is still technically going, but I'm like, you know what? We're going to be loose with it. If you want to talk about something, we're going to talk about something. Again, this is the whole point of shifting things. We're going to talk about things we want to talk about. And hopefully Andrew doesn't talk as much. With that said, let's get into the news, though. News we have. Did you hear about the whole fiasco with Crunchyroll and Necromiko?
I seen a thumbnail of one of your videos. I am curious about it. Tell me about it.
Crunchyroll got caught? Yeah, so it was all the languages from my scene of Necromiko, the first episode was butchered. The translations were wrong. I even did my own Google transcribing to get the Japanese and then doing my own translation of it. And it was there was this one moment where the girl's in front of her live stream, and the translation said something about the fact that she was talking about somebody that had 1 million subscribers or something like that. And it's literally not what she's saying. She's saying something to the effect of she's going to try out a new video game. It's this new game that was called this. I forgot the name of the game. Where? It's not even... Because you put her finger up, you're like, oh, she's obviously saying 1 million views or something like that. It was dumb. But the worst of it was in German, I believe. At some point towards the later part of the episode, the subtitles said ChatGPT said, and then it's just had some German that I don't even know what it says, but I'm assuming it's going to be what was the quote that she said. But yeah, that was like a big, massive, holy crap. Here's like, they got caught. They're actually using ChatGPT, even though they said they weren't supposed to be using that kind of stuff. I assumed it was going to be like a third party. They have somebody translating, but it seemed like all the languages are butchered. So I'm assuming it was probably the same person. Every translation good question for you. Do you ever recall watching a Crunchyroll anime where at the end it said who translated it? I probably have seen one.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's usually Netflix, and I think High Dive.
Netflix, I know, does it.
Netflix for sure, but I don't ever remember Crunchyroll doing it.
Mm-mm.
So out of nowhere, this show has every single one of the languages has at the end. One of them said translator's name. I think it's the same person translated all of it and all the languages, and one of them, German, they goofed up and left the ChatGPT said in there. That's what I was thinking. Yes, Crunchyroll did come out and say that it was in fact a let's get mean here. Crunchyroll claims or threw a third-party vendor under the bus and claimed that somebody else messed up. That their statement was that it was a third party. They violated their agreement. It's in their rules, apparently, for their contracting that they do not use AI translation. But either way, I think even if you want to buy that, I think the end result is the same thing I said in my video. I think Crunchyroll's biggest problem is like some sort of QA. Like, do they not look at the stuff? Like, do you not look at it before you put it up? Like, why would you not look at it? It literally says ChatGPT said in the subtitles that you are applying to it. And Crunchyroll would, I don't know if I guess technically the third party could be setting up the subtitles and the timing.
Probably.
Because they would get like a 480p version of the show and be making the subtitle. They might be doing the timing too. So they might not be able to see it. But still, you can look at it.
I would think that they would have. I think they would have the whole idea, and I know that this is to an extent how it works because I'm sure that it's. I mean, we've been going on about how there's translators that they've got, so it's subcontracted. That's a known.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, saying a third party did it. I mean, duh.
You don't have like people in house that are doing ChatGPT translations?
Probably not.
Yet.
Why this is such a shocker? I mean, somebody's trying to save themselves 5 minutes. Oh, I mean, big shock.
Well, I mean, if I want to be super nice, I would, and I gave multiple like routes of what could have happened in my video, but like, yeah, the first was it could be guy working at Crunchyroll testing out ChatGPT. They're like, hey, try it out with this crappy show that nobody's gonna watch because it's got horrible CGI and everything in it.
Yeah.
And they did all the languages with ChatGPT, and then they goofed up with one of them. My second thing was, yes, a third party, and that third party probably did all the translations. But there was a thought process that yes, and probably in somewhere in there, this could, I doubt it because of how bad some of the translations were. In some cases, it could just be as simply that they were using ChatGPT to sort of get a second opinion, using it as sort of a tool rather than using it to translate everything. But again, because of everything being so badly translated, I think it was legit them putting it through a auto-transcribing, because some of the transcriptions was off. Like her name was off half the time in the actual show. It makes me believe that the system was pulling the audio and transcribing it, and they were translating it. They're supposed to have a transcription. They're supposed to have the script. Or at least that's what they've talked about in the past, where they have the script sent to them from the company first. I hope somebody's not having to audibly translate the stuff. I mean, it's possible, but that can open the room for errors.
No, I'm pretty sure that it's script. That's supposedly how Funimation was doing stuff. Is they would get the script ahead of time, and then they.
How else can you release it like the same day?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they have the script ahead of time. I mean, it's when I say that it doesn't surprise me that something like this would end up happening at some point. It especially like you were pointing out, it's a show that that probably nobody's going to watch. They kind of figure this isn't going to be a show that's going to be watched. They were like, okay, we need to get somebody to do it real quick. Oh, hey, Johnny hasn't gotten an order in a while. Let's send it his way. Hey,
my nephew says that he's really good at translating stuff, and then he's like, yeah,
you want to make a couple of extra bucks? Here, go ahead and do. If you can do all 5 languages in 15-20 minutes, go for it. He pops it into his ChatGPT, figuring he made an easy $50. Didn't think that it was going to come back on him because nobody's going to watch this show.
But anime fans love finding faults in Crunchyroll. That was the one thing they did not they weren't ready for, is that no matter how unwatchable the show is, somebody will watch it to find the problems. Or at least somebody will be searching Crunchyroll at some point and see that Billy just happened to watch this show that I'm always watching. I mean, that's like the Yuzuki family's 4 sons. It's like, I was super excited for it, but I knew nobody was caring about it. And so when I went to go watch it and that first episode was so butchered, I was like, okay, I don't think this was done by a person, because 1, it doesn't sound right. And I mean, when they were talking about how they lost their parents and stuff like that, it just sounded so robotic, and how it was like talking about emotion and what they were going through. And then have like everywhere where it was like referencing somebody without a name, it couldn't figure it out. It's like that whole issue that comes with translating from Japanese, is like gender gets messed up a lot. Like I'll do a lot of machine translations of different interviews and stuff like that, and they'll constantly get genders wrong.
Well, I get the through my video player when I watch shows off of that place way far away in the ocean. The machine translating automatically does it, and it does it. Some things just sound off. I mean, I can piece them together, but it's enough that it's off to a point. Usually names is one of the things that really throws it off, because it's trying to make the name into a word, and it like there'll be somebody's name and it'll be the world, and it's like the world said this.
The world-o-san. It's the world-o-san. Yeah, I think that's kind of why the honorifics kind of help out a lot. But I think, sometimes it kind of... I think it's because like the machine translation is trying to translate it before it finishes it. And so like not getting those honorifics in there probably botches it up. I don't know. It's dumb. Like I tell people, it's... I was seriously thinking, this is a test bed. I mean, Crunchyroll will turn to machine translation eventually. It's just an inevitability.
I mean, when they finally get all the kinks taken
like,
out...
Rejoice, everybody. You no longer have to worry about us underpaying our translators. And everybody's like, oh, really? They're going to pay the translators well? We're getting rid of them. So you don't have to no longer have to worry about them being underpaid. We just no longer pay them. But we're never underpaying them anymore. Don't worry.
I mean, once they get the kinks out, and I think that the people who will probably notice it first is the people who are doing, like I was saying, or who are watching it offline, and they have those machine auto translators going. Once the kinks get worked out, it won't be very long after that Crunchyroll will announce that they are going to AI translation, and that's it. Because it's going to be a cost cutting. It's no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, liabilities and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, do you hear that Gigguk is making an isekai?
Who?
Gigguk.
Really?
Yeah. He's making it big now.
Yeah?
Apparently Geeks Plus, and they apparently created Geeks Production, which apparently they're like going to be focused on like... Well, Geeks Plus is like a whole like group of like content creators, like Gigguk and all of them, Trash Taste, all that kind of stuff. I believe it's Trash Taste, right? I would assume that's part of it, because Gigguk is part of that, and he's part of Trash Taste. But anyways, their whole group... Sorry, I'm not like super in on this group, because I don't really watch their stuff. I do like Gigguk, but I don't really care much about anything else in that whole group. So that's my thing. It's like I just like this one guy in that group, and the rest I They're not my thing. But anyways, Gigguk himself, let's focus on him because that's the most important thing. With their whole initiative here, they want to create anime for their different members. And Gigguk apparently is the first one to come up to the plate. And he's making a anime short called Bon. Bon. Baan. But apparently Bon is... Don't I have a description here? I do. They describe the anime as centering on two protagonists, Arai Daichi and Rinrada... oh my gosh, this last name. Rachma Mane, I guess. Rachma Mane. Searching for a place where they belong. The story sets set in two worlds, Japan, the real world, and a fictional world, Euthania, which is connected to each other through a warp gate. Arai Daichi, a 21-year-old man who has conflicts with his family, seeks to run away to as far as he can to Euthania. Meanwhile, Riranda, a 19-year-old Euthanian, sets out from her village to connect with Japan. So I guess they're just gonna swap sides and possibly collide with each other through the... They had like a space elevator between the two worlds. Did he have the trailer in here? I think there is a trailer. I don't know, like in the end, it's like I don't have really any expectations for this, to be honest. It's only gonna be like a short, like 29-minute or 22-minute YouTube free. It goes up on YouTube, everybody can watch it. That's just pretty cool, by the way. I don't really have much expectations for like a quick 20-minute isekai story. Plus, I'm not really... As much as I know of Gigguk, I'm not really sure if I know him much of being like a creative mind. Like, he's creative, obviously, because he's done his content for the longest time. But, like, creating a world is much different than creating content for content. Because you have content to go based on. Creating your own concept out of thin air is a bit different. So I don't know if I want to, like, have high expectations for the writing of it. But it looks good. And it's got Kevin Penkin doing music, and that's always a plus. I'm always on board for that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. I hope it does well for him. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like it's obviously going to be a big cost, and it does seem like Gigguk has done quite a bit of the cost himself, doing like a bunch. I've been hearing a lot of stories from people about like him having to do a lot of like sponsorships and stuff like that to kind of get ready for this. But it's a big undertaking, so I hope that it does well for him. I don't know how well it will do for him being on YouTube. I would assume that he's probably going to have it on YouTube and possibly maybe give it to distributors in Japan as well, just to kind of recoup the cost. But either way, I hope it does well for him. Yep. I mean, congratulations to him. I mean, that's I would love to one day do my own. I'm not sure if I would, but like out of my own pocket, that's huge. But hopefully it does well.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I that's one of those I wish I could do that.
A dream. It's the dream of all anime fans to one day make their own anime. Congratulations, Gigguk. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations. Anyways, what else? I did want to talk about this before. I think this is the only other one I really want to talk about. Did you hear about Ascendance Bookworm?
Yeah.
Spring 2023.
You thought that I wouldn't click on that. You thought I wouldn't click on that that thumbnail. Come on now.
You knew that was going to come up. You knew that was coming up. But no, this is the other one I want to talk about, which is this right here. My gosh. This is the biggest, like, WTF moment of the other week. And I meant to do a video covering a lot of these news bits in a video, but then I got really into the whole thing about talking about Netflix gel coming back for Fragrant Flower Blooms. And so I ended up completely scrapping the video I made on this. But anyways, during the whole AX stuff that was happening last week, something snuck out in the middle of all of it that I thought was really, really interesting. And that is that Big West came out and said that all the anime will be releasing Macross Frontier and Macross Delta. All the anime Limited, whichever you want to call them, a UK distributor, if I remember correctly. I think they're UK. They're releasing these two products. Now, the oddity there was like, okay, that's cool. I don't think that they had distribution rights on that before. And then I looked down and it says that they replied to somebody saying this will be US as well. Now, some might be wondering, well, why is that important, Andrew? Because if we look back in my old documents here, I have the receipts. If we look back here, if we go way back to July 1st of 2022, Nozomi Entertainment announced with Big West that they were releasing Macross Frontier and Delta themselves. And for a lot of the big Macross fans, we've been kind of sitting ever since that was a joyous day, by the way. That was like huge because that was Big West coming out and saying, hey, don't worry, we got them back. No more Harmony Gold crap. We finally got our properties back, and we're going to have all these companies make Blu-rays for you guys. It was a massive celebration. All the anime was included. Nozomi Entertainment was included. There was somebody else. Was it Discotheque? Somebody else was included. But they were releasing everything. They were announcing they were going to release everything. But then again, 3 years later, crickets are still around. What happened to Nozomi Entertainment releasing these? And the assumption that we had I had about a year ago when this was brought to my attention again, I'm like, oh, that's right. Crunchyroll bought Nozomi Entertainment, and they sat on the license. I'm sure that Nozomi Entertainment was looking forward to releasing it. They've done really well at releasing everything they've done. But suddenly when Crunchyroll bought, because it was like, I think right after they licensed this, Crunchyroll bought them. Right Stuff. And so I'm guessing they just sat on the license, which is great to know because that tells me based on this announcement that now all the anime will be doing it and all the anime is, let me see. It says Europe. Okay. Now all the animes got it, that they pulled the license from Crunchyroll. Now it could be that they go, hey, Crunchyroll, what are you doing with this? And they're like, we're super busy. Okay, we're going to have them release it, and maybe they just kind of sub-license to all the anime. But I think Macross, Big West going to all the anime, announcing it like this tells me that they pulled the license back, which is good, because they learned something last time. Yeah. Because I think we were talking about this when they first came out and made all these announcements. I'm like, I bet you with every single one of these, they have their lawyers on call. You make sure this contract's not going to have crap like last time this time. And there might have been a stipulation in there that says, under any circumstances, we can pull the license. And 3 years is, I think, plenty for a physical edition license. But I would assume that with Crunchyroll and them, they're probably I don't know. I'm shooting complete speculation here, by the way. I would assume they would get at least 5 to 10 years licenses on their physical distribution rights. Because you don't want to release something, and then right after you release it, somebody else comes in a few years later, license it up from underneath you, and sells it for cheaper, because then you're stuck with all that lot.
Is Crunchyroll doing any physical releases right now?
Yeah. They're still releasing everything. Everything? I mean, not everything, but probably, I would guess at least 10 shows a season.
Funimation does it.
At least 10 shows a season. Well, yeah, it's the same company now.
Right.
Like, for instance, they just released the pre-orders for the Fragrant box set, and that's expensive.
Oh, really?
It's like a stupid little box you could open up, and they didn't do a treasure chest. They could have totally done a Mimic. They could have totally done a Mimic. Have her butt hanging out the front of that thing.
No, they wouldn't do that.
They would sell so many of those.
They wouldn't do that.
If they had
it doesn't matter if it sells or not. You don't understand the concept that we've been ranting about for the longest time. It doesn't matter if it would sell better. What matters is that her butt is hanging out.
I mean, they sell plushes of that. It's not like this is an
Crunchyroll does.
Huh?
Crunchyroll does.
Probably on their store, yeah. I would assume they have tons of Fern merch.
I want receipts.
Crunchyroll. Do I have the receipts anymore, man? I gotta have the receipts on hand. People get on me if I don't have the receipts. Fragrant, dude. If you want to make me hate a website more, Fragrant, have it where when I click in the search box and I go to type, and by the time I go to type, you've knocked my cursor out of there by some stupid drop down or something. Amazon does it. Crunchyroll store does it.
Oh, Amazon does whenever I go to do one of the over there off to the top right where you click on the filter type. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it for whatever reason it resets the entire screen. Does something that irritates the crap out of me. Crunchyroll. I am sitting here looking at Crunchyroll store, and there is a Fragrant butt
A
in a
Fragrant
mimic.
butt.
But here's the thing. It says Sega Goods. So it's somebody selling on Crunchyroll store, sir.
They have nothing on their store that is their own. They license everything and distribute everything. They're a distributor. What are you
I'm impressed
thinking?
that I'm impressed that they haven't knocked it off though.
They have Playboy stuff on their website.
What? No, I need receipts.
Playboy. You act like this is my first rodeo, Chris. You act like this is my first rodeo. They have Playboy brand stuff all over their site. Even though they have gotten rid of pretty much everything 18 plus that was on Right Stuff that, or that they didn't want to have on there anymore. You like all that Playboy goods?
It's a Playboy bunny design.
They got Playboy. They got the Playboy Animus. They got the Playboy brand.
That's not Playboy.
That is legit the Playboy brand.
That is the logo, yes.
It's not.
I agree.
It's not
that
the
is the
Playboy
logo.
magazine, but it is the branding that people will look into to know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You lost on that.
I don't really care that it's on there. I'm just making
It's
it
not
funny.
lewd enough. It's
that
not
that
lewd
is on
enough
there,
to make.
but something else is not.
It's not lewd enough to make.
It's it's affiliated with pornography. What more? If I was a Karen,
I'm with you.
If I was a Karen, I would be on top of them for this because this is pornography branding, which is just as bad. Mm-hmm. They're profiting off of pornography. Anyways, what else are we talking about? So yeah, I'm super happy about Macross coming back, and that they got that, and that all the Macross fans will finally after 3 years, technically going to be another year and 2 years to get their proper release. And shame on Crunchyroll for messing up that. As much as people think that I'm like I side with Crunchyroll all the time, I'll call them when they do something wrong, and they wrong this. Just because of the history, that makes it worse. That Crunchyroll, after everything that happened with Macross before,
they should have been
you
all
sitting
over
on that, you should have got that done. Because that's, I'd imagine.
That was egg in their own face. They totally messed that up.
Complete speculation again. This could harm anything future Macross ever going to Crunchyroll. Now, money always talks, but like if I feel like a future Macross series that comes out, and Crunchyroll's like, "Hey guys, can we license that for streaming?" They're like, "No, no, we'll go somewhere else." Not after what happened with Delta and Frontier. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, I'm still mad about the whole Fragrant Flower Blooms being stuck on Netflix until September 7th.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Because it's going to turn to weekly releases.
You would think that they
point.
would have figured that out by now.
Well, what was the other show right now? Hikaru Dies. Legit is doing weekly right now. They're on top of weekly. Why this show? I want to find. I've had so many websites has talked about this whole situation, but nobody has gotten the answer from Netflix. Why? All I can think of, and it's probably the best excuse, is that they messed up with scheduling the dubbing process, and they really badly want to release this with dubs, which I hate. Because you can technically go watch it right now. I think the Asian version of it for sure has the subtitles. And I think the Japanese one updated with subtitles with English. Why not just if it's got subtitles, release the damn thing? Like what what is the gain here? This is I was talking about my video. This is legit the most anticipated show of the season right now. New. Of new shows, this is you have on Annie chart, which is pretty close to Mel. Dandadan's number 1. Dress Up Darling's number 2. Kaiju number 8's number 3. I don't know why. But new shows, number 1, and this is number 4. Fragrant Flower Blooms is the most anticipated show of the season. Netflix, like 2 up from Hikaru, 1 up from Gachiakuta. Why? Do you have any other explanations, Chris? Explain yourself. Explain yourself, Chris.
Well, when I was at the board meeting for this show,
I knew
we were discussing
it.
well, you did design me as an AI bot. So when I
went sentient and ran off with
exactly,
Netflix.
and I went to Netflix and we were at the board meeting and I was discussing this show, and we figured that we could tantalize your desire for this show and increase Nintendo's doing the same thing right now. So I figured we could just go ahead and tantalize people enough, and then when we drop the whole thing, everybody be super excited and watch it all at one time.
See, when I was coding the whole part for tantalization, I must have just messed up somewhere in there. That's what happened. Anyways, any other news that popped in your head recently? Did you see the trailer for Mushoku Tensei?
No.
You didn't watch the trailer? You didn't watch my react either? Did you watch the fan animation?
No.
Chris is like super out
Show
of the loop
me.
right now. Chris is super out of the loop right now. I can't because it got yanked down. The fan animation did.
Really?
Which is expected. Apparently the CODA in Japan went after them. IP protection group for overseas IP just protections or whatever. They went after it and took it down. My react's still up on that though. My video for my react's still up. They haven't come after me yet. I think it almost got 1 million views before it finally got took down.
Oh, really?
It was covering all like Turning Point. It's all like volume 14 and 15 stuff. So it's spoilery stuff for anime onlys, but it was really good. Especially the point in which a certain dragon goes chasing after somebody, and they got that suit of armor on, and they're like shooting at him as they're coming at him. That whole like moment where he's coming up the hill and coming towards him through the forest. Super good, dude. Whoever animated that little segment right there, like, hire them, hire those dudes, because that looks super good. But yeah, it was cool. It was a good little animation there. But yeah, I think that's most of the news that I have. Reviews?
Let's do it.
Are you ready for some reviews? Or should we do the community? Let's do community questions first. That's all, folks.
Maybe.
Let's do reviews. Which one do you want to talk about the most? Do you want to talk about Apocalypse Hotel? Did you did finish Apocalypse Hotel?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if we wanted to go through all this stuff, but Apocalypse Hotel, streaming on Crunchyroll, run for 12 episodes, done by Side Pictures. It's an original series. Script work being done by the person that worked on Gymnastic Samurai, Zombieland Saga, and Ninja Kamui. But anyways, yeah, this one opens up with mankind has some epidemic happening. They're trying to figure out what it is, but it's killing off people. Their environment's all screwed up. Like everything possibly to wipe out mankind's happening, it seems. And at some point, they decide to get the hell out. They even tried to do like underground and underwater facilities, but they decided to ultimately get in spaceships and go up in space, wait until everything's good, and then they'll come back and repopulate the world. Well, there's this one hotel where it's got mostly all just like robotic staff, and they were like testing out these new like robot AI things to manage the actual hotel. They're left behind at this one hotel, and even though everything else outside of it, like all the the plants are retaking over the world, like all these buildings are getting taken over by shrubbery and whatnot. There's this little spot where this hotel is. And it's just perfectly pristine because all these robots have been working for like hundreds of years to keep the place pristine, all waiting for the hotel manager and humans to one day return and then welcoming them in the door for a place to stay. So yeah, we mostly follow Yashio, who is like the head maid, head service lady, whatever of the facility.
Wasn't she acting?
Something like that. Acting manager, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, she's mostly running the whole thing. And all the robots as they kind of take care of things. Yes, at some point, soft spoilers, they finally get a visitor, which is aliens. Aliens just kind of come by and drop into the hotel, and she has to figure out like what the hell they're saying, how to take care of them, what are their likes and dislikes, all in order to give them the top of service that they possibly can give them. And yeah, that's basically the gist. So what'd you think of Apocalypse Hotel? Did you like it? Did you hate it?
Huh?
Shampoo Hatsu?
Shampoo hat. Shampoo hat.
I love how obsessed they are with shampoo hats.
I want to talk about the ending so bad.
Yeah, finally, the later parts. You understand.
Shampoo hat.
You understand. It's so important to her.
No, I did love the show. It was. I was really mixed on it. At the very beginning, I loved it. When we added the Tanukis, I was really mixed on it for a little while, and then once the kind of Tanukis kind of
so good.
yeah, once they finally kind of got their kind of pacing with what the
When they moved out, Chris.
Yeah, when they moved out.
When they finally moved out, everything was fine.
And then it kind of started clicking into place when Punko became kind of a part of the staff. And it just kind of as it moved along and you kind of build this relationship between Yachio and Punko, the show really kind of caught its stride at that point, and I really did start to enjoy it. There was a couple of really sad spots and some really high points, all kind of cultivating in this the last few scenes, which I thought were absolutely fantastic. I really loved it.
I think the thing that I get a kick out of the most is just how it was so all over the place, but it was always cohesive and always entertaining.
Yeah.
'Cause like the first episode, it starts off a little bit like, somber, and then it gets really comedic with the whole thing with the doorman and how it's very important the doorman does his job, and he could keep freaking dunking water on the doorman over and over again, which I totally thought was going to get old, but it never does. Especially when she does her big speech about how important it is for doorman to be there and not do the drill. She's like, this is his most important job, and then he just, and then she goes over, gets water, and splashes on it, and then continues her speech. It's like, this is one job, and he overheats. But yeah, it's like, it's silly at first, but then it kind of
he gets
shifts to
a shampoo hat, and that throws off her entire numbers, and she can't get any more shampoo hats. And this is a huge problem.
Why would you take why would you take the shampoo hat? Why would you do that? We're short on them. We have to go find them. We don't have a supplier right now. But no, it's like, yeah, that's that whole aspect, like understanding humans and everything, which I totally thought they were going to go in the direction of. I thought this was going to eventually get into this whole thing where Yashio has to figure out how to be human or some crap. It was going to replay because the humans are gone so long. Eventually, the robots try to figure out how to be human. Didn't really go that direction, which I was actually surprised by. But anyways, what I was saying is, it goes goofy with that whole situation, and then you'll have like an episode where it gets heavy again because, oh yeah, by the way, they're running out of parts, and they're eventually going to break down, and then the hotel just is the last. The hotel is sort of like a last semblance of humankind. And there is like this tragic aspect that you realize after so long has passed, I don't think humans are ever going to come back. Like I legit, very quickly, I think within a few episodes, I'm thinking, but what if they never come back?
Yeah.
And I think Yashio several times throughout the series has that thought. They're never come back. It was the environmental checker, that stupid environmental checker. He planted it in her head. They ain't coming back, chick. I've been sitting that up there over and over again. They ain't coming back. And she just completely breaks. What if they never come back? What's the whole point of all this stuff? That it gets heavy in that regard. And then every now and then they'll have like little trips to the town. You'll see just how, well, just it's without life anymore. And then you'll have these moments where it just freaking trimmers, and there's a Tanuki with a damn chainsaw in her hand going charging after the freaking trimmer and he's about to chop it in half. And I'm like, what is this show? And then it cuts over to, meet the husband, and she's like straight decking up the guy, like just gut punches the guy. You're not taking it away from me. It just like it's back and forth between like the most odd things that shouldn't all fit a series, but it all fits together cohesively because the initial thing that I talked about in our first impressions, this show is charm. This is 100%. If you wanted to if you asked me, tag this with one tag, charming. That's all it needs. This show is full of charm, and charm works for heavy stuff. It works for funny stuff. It works for, Iyashikei stuff, which this has that stuff in it. Like every single episode is so different.
The episode before the last, that was my Iyashikei.
They're looking for the chip.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was so beautiful. I loved it. And it's crazy because a little bit into it, she's walking around for a little bit, and at some point I'm like, you know what? I normally, and it was actually towards the later part, technically, because it came to my mind when she finally found that the person on the ground. It dawned on me there. Wow, the episode's almost over, and normally something like this should be extremely boring, but it was. I was locked in. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't Yashi. I wouldn't say that's Yashike. I guess it is technically Yashike the same way because I can see the same thing happening there. Yashike, it's like this idea of like relaxation. You're just kind of chilling. It's the whole like, Yuru camp sitting on the side of the lake, drinking cocoa. It's just relaxation. I was locked in. Like I was poring over everything that she was doing, everything that was happening. There was a sense there that something bad was going to happen, and it's like I was relaxed, but at the same time I almost felt uneasiness.
Yeah, I won't deny that.
It felt like, you walk into a retirement home kind of feeling like, what is going to happen next? Is this it kind of thing? It was so beautiful too. Oh my gosh, dude! Like her sitting down with all the deers and he was making a fire.
Was it Ride a Pegasus? Yeah, it was the worst Pegasus in the world. It was great.
The freaking achievements. No, the biggest troll. You know what I'm talking about. The PV had the biggest troll. Do you remember the PV? There was a later part in the PV where she literally gets emotional. And I remember when we watched the PV, I thought, from the PV's perspective, I thought this was going to be nothing but, like, robot in isolation discovers human feelings. Because at the end of that PV, it shows Yashio get all emotional. And then what actually happened in the show. Freaking Ponko's over there going, Yashio, it's love! And like they trolled us. I legit thought it was a serious moment in the trailer, and they freaking trolled us. And Poncho's like, stupid kangaroo cat thing. I love the cat dude. That was cool. I like that guy. Yeah. I ship him.
Yeah, I would too.
Ponko's so great, dude. I love Ponko.
Now, tell me that you didn't love that ending. The stupid humans.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
Oh yeah,
that was an absolute perfect bookend to that show.
It's like
stupid humans.
She's legit like the reverse of too much. Too long. What was it? Too much information. TMI. She's legit. You need to give me TMI. She's like, you never give me enough information. Goddamn. I think easily the Tremors episode was the greatest because yeah, some people were pointing out they're not technically tremors because they don't go above ground like that, dude. They were supposed to be tremors. They're just it's their own spin on it. It was the tongue thing. The tongue thing was like it's tremors. Like I wasn't all for it because it was this massive worm going around destroying everything. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't until the tongue went in the room and I'm like, oh, that's totally tremors.
It could have been the thing. Totally, the stupid worm from Final Fantasy could have been that.
Did they have?
Why does it have to be tremors? Huh?
Did they have a tongue thing?
I think so. I don't know.
Because the tremors had the tongue thing that would go out and check things and bite.
I was thinking of the worm thing from Final Fantasy. So,
but like everything about that episode was perfect, dude. Because it's like an encapsulation of like everything. It's going out there discovering. It's getting in that whole thing that was left behind by the other alien. It's Ponko trying to help out with the situation. Then this whole aspect that Tanukis are always afraid, and she's trying to overcome that fear and be a part of the group. And she just, I think that whole scene where she's got that whole like fearful moment, and it puts all that symbolism on the screen about like a predator coming after the prey, like the spider and whatnot. And then suddenly the thing comes at her, and it's just like she grabs the freaking stick of the pins and go. It was such a good little scene. Again, the chainsaw out of nowhere. I'm like, wow. This is like the greatest moment in anime history right here. Is I'm watching a freaking Tanuki with a chainsaw chase after this, and the ending was so perfect. Even like the before that, it was like the whole segment where Yachio keeps trying to handle the situation, but she keeps running out of battery. Don't worry, I'll and she like kicks back up. Oh, you're welcome back. I want to handle it was so dorky. It's perfection. I think. I seem to remember that was one episode that didn't really work for me. honestly, I was a little bit mixed on the wedding episode. It was like, it was bonkers, but at the same time felt icky. Like it's beautiful, but it felt kind of icky at the same time. But I wanted to cry at the same time. Like at the same time I was crying, mainly around, Punko. I felt bad for Punko. It had a beautiful message in there, that's for sure, but it felt weird. It really did feel weird. It did feel weird.
But again, I'll agree with that one. I was kind of mixed on it as well. I don't know that I'd say icky, but it did feel weird. I understood what they were going for. It's alien.
Celebration, yeah.
Yeah, it's alien. It's not.
Oh yeah.
It's not what we would do.
And I guess that's technically I guess that's kind of genius in a way, because it's the most easy thing for us to sort of relate to, at the same time show how they would do it. So it's supposed to feel weird and off because they're aliens, but it's relatable because we experience both, union and death.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded so smart, us figuring that out. We sound so smart.
It's almost like we planned that, huh?
I did get as much as I didn't want to like Environment Checker. I did get a kick out of the fact like every now and then he shows up.
I didn't like him at first, but then after a while, the Bebe or whatever, I don't know what it was that his verbal tick that was making him decide Bebe, but it worked for me.
he likes the yos in there too. I think I audibly heard the yos.
I'm pretty sure I heard the yos.
He's a goofball, absolute goofball. But no, like him showing up and trying to just nuke things constantly was dorky. He's like constantly trying to they had that whole montage for one of them, and he's just constantly in the background, and she's constantly like, "Stop, stop." It's great. Anyways, I absolutely adore it. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 on my charts. I literally think it's pretty much a perfect show. I seem to remember there was one episode I wasn't big on, but 1 out of 12 episodes being okay. It's still 10 out of 10 on me. I just think it was a masterpiece visually. We haven't talked about that. Visually, so freaking good looking, dude. I loved it. Great directing on it.
Yeah, going back to the kangaroo thing.
They totally went shonen on that whole fight.
It went nuts, and it was just absolute sakuga.
I think Punko's chainsaw episode was probably was one of the most sakuga. But yeah, again, that later episode with the whole looking for the chip was just the backgrounds and the directing was just it's it doesn't have to always be animation. It's just the spectacle of it and the directing itself was just so good.
Yeah, and they would still subvert your expectations. I mean, the going back to the Pegasus thing, you've seen all these the wildlife in the show, the entire show, and none of the wildlife has shown any inclination to anything outside of what their normal expectations. So you're just expecting a deer. It looks like a deer. It's acting like a deer. The squirrels are acting like squirrels. And so when you get to the
camel
horses,
still spit.
Huh?
The camel still spits.
The camel still spits. When you see the horses, nothing by any accounts. Maybe the X threw me off, but I don't know that that's necessarily not a thing that horses will have. My thing being is that the horses didn't look outside of a normal horse. And so when the whole Pegasus thing kind of randomly appears, it was like, wait a second. Okay. You subverted my expectations there. Good job.
I figured it out. The one episode that wasn't great for me was the beer making. That felt dragged out. That felt extremely. I did get a kick out of how she changes forms whenever she drinks. She has her own bodacious version every time she has liquor. Unlock another skill, but the episode itself dragged. I felt that one dragged.
I think there was a point to that.
Oh yeah.
The whole expectation.
It changed the Tanukis a lot. It was a good kind of progression of the time itself. It was this aspect of aging and trying to make something that was human. Because I think that's literally the first time they tried to manufacture something that was human, because everything else has been supplied to them. This was a first manufacturing that they were doing. I mean, besides cooking food and stuff.
I think that it was also necessary for the progression of time.
Yeah.
Because
they progress time elsewhere, too.
Huh?
I mean, they progress time elsewhere,
right.
too.
And I think that was kind of an important
like after the whole thing with the launching the space thing.
Right. Because the whole thing that they were constantly they were kind of just the only thing that you had to really kind of mark time was every once in a while when she goes into her room and she does her little log, and then she points out this much time is or this date, and so you have to sit there and try to kind of base the idea of this much time has passed. This was the first time that you actually seen moments kind of impactful amounts of time that were happening when she says every one of these barrels has to be aged 30 years. And so you have these, okay, every time they try it, that's another 30 years. So
every time she transforms into Bodacious Yashio.
Yeah. So you're actually getting there's a good amount of time that's passing through all this, and you've got Ponko constantly doing things that are trying to change the way the universe is interacting with it. That's goes into what happens later when you have more and more aliens that are coming in.
I was hoping to see if I can find... See, it hasn't really increased that much on any chart. I was really hoping that after like a few of the big content creators finally kind of started talking about Apocalypse Hotel, I was hoping that would kind of bump up a bit. I seen quite a few of them like towards the... I know that one of them finally picked up on it when it came to the Tanuki Chainsaw episode. But yeah, it took till like the very end of the season where suddenly a few people started going, hey, there's this show nobody's watching. I'm like, y'all, I've been talking about this since the very beginning. I was talking about this show before it even started airing. I'm on top of this. I'm on top of this. You're going to hear about it first here. But I was hoping that once the big ones started kind of talking about this show, that it would finally start getting attention. So my hope is that as this year goes on, hopefully this will be one of those ones. It's going to take until after summer because summer's just way too packed. That some people will finally kind of go back to it and check it out. Maybe if fall's going to be weak, probably not. People have a chance to go back and watch this show because it's so good. It was literally, if it weren't for Apothecary Diaries, it would have been number one for me.
I'm holding out hope that mid-season, this season, midway through this season, when the anime bubble goes ahead and finally bursts, and like 75% of the shows kind of just fall off.
Suddenly out of nowhere, every show is delayed. It's like out of nowhere, suddenly Gachiakuta is delayed for a week. This show is delayed for a week. We have My Dress Up Darling is delayed for a week.
No, My Dress Up Darling is one of the protected ones.
It's in pictures. Nothing gonna happen. It's probably already finished adapting. Honestly, I would assume that one, if not all, of those shows from Cloverworks is probably done. So. Probably Fragrant Flower Blooms. That's why they have it all, and they can sit there and sit on it. Anyways, yeah, that's Apocalypse Hotel. Man, we talked about that one for a long time. I love it. I love the freaking show, so I'll talk about it endlessly. You said you wanted to talk about a special show. Speaking of high-quality animation,
you think
Apocalypse Hotel...
No.
You think Apocalypse Hotel looks good? Get a load of this show. The beginning after the end. Saikyo no osama nitome no jinsei wa nani wo suru? Streaming on the Crunchyroll. Done by Studio. Note this, everybody. Note it for the future. Studio A-Cat. Because apparently people didn't know A-Cat was a bad studio until this show started airing. It's not a bad studio. I honestly think they got this way late. I don't think this is Studio A-Cat's fault. I mean, it's partially their fault, but I think they probably got this super late. But anyways, what'd you think of the beginning of the end? Though I guess the brief summary here is that this guy, he's like this king of this one kingdom, and he's like total domination, like taking over all these other countries and mass slaughtering people. and he's like completely heartless. Like, even to the point where, like, they found this one guy's a traitor, and they bring in his family, and the guy asks to spare the family, and the dude just goes there and kills the family, so the guy doesn't worry no more. He's like, oh, is this bothering you? Let me kill your wife and child. That helps you, right? And everybody's like, oh, praise the king. He gave you mercy. And the guy's like, oh, thanks for giving me mercy, king. But anyways, he dies at some point, and he ends up reincarnated into the body of Arthur Lewino. I don't know. And is this child in this other world that has like different magic systems and spells and abilities and whatnot. And as he's raised there by his mother and father, we get to find out that, yeah, he didn't have really parental figures in the previous life. He was like an orphanage and basically raised to be heartless. But in this new life, he's suddenly realizing, oh, so this is what it's like to have people care for you. And look, they shielded me from like having something collapse on me because I blew up their house because I was unlocking my magic abilities here. And then they go out journeying together because he's so smart. They want to take him to like the kingdom so that he can train there properly. And they get attacked, and he meets some weird dragon granny, and the dragon granny was being killed by something else, but it helped train Arthur in something. And so he then runs off with some elf girl, and I think he went to the elf kingdom. That's all I know.
And the elf king, the not the elf king, but the elf king's dad. So the previous elf king decided to take him in to train him, and then he learned how to unlock his beast master abilities or some crazy stuff like that, and finds out that he has a dragon inside of him because of the dragon granny.
The dragon granny.
Yeah. Then you go into going back to his his mama and daddy, and then he gets tied up.
Wait, Dad's alive?
Yes.
He didn't die?
Yeah, huh? Mom and
Wow,
Dad
I was
die.
afraid he died when he was PNGing the other guys.
Yeah.
Because when you like collide PNGs, sometimes they like mess up and you lose the file.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, they 404'd him, but he didn't actually 404.
So he beat up
died.
all those bandits.
No, him and his team did.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure if they were doing anything because they were all like this. Run! Llewyn, run! Yeah, we got this for you. I was afraid they just die because they're just not moving. I'm sorry. Anyways, continue.
Was that was the main reason why you gave up on the show? Was because of its production value?
Partly. You want my review?
Story-wise. Tell me
you want my review?
No, I just want your story-wise why you gave up.
Well, when I came into it, my expectations was high. Well, it wasn't high. I was just I was coming into it going, okay, what is this going to be? Because it obviously has a passionate fandom. The fans really love this story, so it's got to be something in here good. As I was watching it, I was actually surprised because how much there was like this conflict between Mushoku Tensei fans and Tabat fans about like, how one side has to believe the other side's garbage, basically. And a lot of the complaints that I had from the Tabat fans was that Mushoku Tensei was the main character. They were saying Tabat is like Mushoku Tensei without the predator. And then I'm watching Tabat, and the moment that it comes to the point where he's literally slaughtering the lady's wife and the guy's wife and son in front of him, I'm like, oh, so it's Mushoku Tensei if the main character was a mass murderer.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going.
That's different. That's different. And that was fine. My argument there was like, why I love Mushoku Tensei is because he starts out disgusting. He's a reject of society. He shouldn't exist by societal standards. This guy shouldn't exist either. I want to see how he changes. I was fine with the animation. I was covering it weekly. I'm like, it's just fine. It's fine. It doesn't need to look great. But what I came to have a trouble with is that by the time it got to where he plummets after trying to save his mom, and everything before then, it felt like that progression to accepting his family was a bit too quick. Like, I was hoping to look into a story similar to Mushoku Tensei where, okay, it starts off that he's a cold-blooded killer, and then over time, he's going to slowly accept his family. But it feels like within a couple episodes, he's already getting the sense of, like, family and everything like that. He's accepting it way too fast. And all of his internal dialogue doesn't match the guy that I see in the past. Yeah. Every time it's in the current time, he's walking around,
well, this guy in front of the mirror, and this boy, he's gonna look pretty sexy or whatever. He's gonna slay some girls. But it's still like, it's almost like the guy in his head, as this new child Arthur, sounds like somebody that is too openly accepting of his new life and didn't spend what I would presume is at least 20 years being a mass murderer.
Yeah.
So I think by the time he plummets after the band's attack, I'd already kind of started to give up on sort of getting seeing that progression, that change in his life and his way of viewing things. And it all kind of led at that point. After he falls, hanging out with the dragon and then like getting super emotionally invested with the dragon out of nowhere, it never felt right. Ever since the bandit's attack, basically, it wasn't jiving with me. And then to have the quality of it kind of ruin it as well. At some point, I just like, you know what? I'm gonna read it. If I ever decide to actually check it out, I'm just gonna read it, because I'm not getting a benefit from watching the show, and I'm not really feeling the story in the show. So that was why I dropped it at like episode. What's the dragon granny death?
Yeah. It's odd because I actually kind of I enjoyed a lot of this. The idea of this kind of being a flip version of Mushoku Tensei is kind of, I think, misleading. I do think that the idea of this being a kind of a cold-blooded murderer, I think that the web novel is what I would really want to see. I would want to hear his inner dialogue a lot more. I think that this would be an interesting one to see if there's more of a discussion about what he's kind of balancing in a lot of cases, because him going from cold-blooded murderer, because and understand, I'm giving a lot of leeway to Arthur and the idea of what he was on the other in his other life, because it kind of implies that he felt like he had to get to that point from some of the kind of background kind of discussion that he has every once in a while, because it doesn't do a lot of inner dialogue. And I think that the inner dialogue would have put a lot more interest, a lot more weight on what his decision making was. While he tried very hard to kind of present this idea of this almost a perfect son to kind of survive in this new world, but yet at the same time, he's always kind of trying to find a way to make himself stronger, until at some point he has this, he faces the granny dragon, as Andrew called her. At some point with the granny dragon, he says, I need power to become stronger or something like that. And the granny dragon chides him, says no. And he says, oh, wait, what do you mean? That's not a viable answer. Okay. And then he reevaluates what it is his true goals are. And then he changes it from to get stronger to protect my family. And that's when the granny dragon says, okay, I will teach you this new trick. So that forces him to reevaluate what it is that his ultimate goal is. I almost look at that as a kind of pivot point for him, because after that, a lot of his main goals is towards protecting his family, or getting back with his family, or getting stronger to ultimately protect his family. So he's shifted his main focus. And like I said, I think that one of the things that I have a hard time with the web novel type shows, or the novels, light novels, the adaptations, is that inner dialogue. I think that inner dialogues in some cases needs to be presented, and I don't know how you would present it without becoming walls of text or big O dialogue dumps. They need to come up with a better way of explaining that. I think that Monogatari is a perfect example of how it can be done and still be entertaining. This show obviously is not pulling that off, but I think that it would have been a more interesting show had it done that. But ultimately, I still think it tried to hit some interesting new things, trying to kind of shift the idea of key power to different magical systems, trying to capture that in there. That was kind of fun to do. He is an overpowered character, but he struggles with trying to figure out how his power works without killing himself because he's so overpowered. So I think that was kind of fun and interesting. So yeah, overall, I'm in the middle of the road on this. I think it was an interesting show. I think that it could have been a lot better done. I think it does have potential though.
Yeah, I did like the whole like magic systems and whatnot. It was enough to kind of give it a little bit of flavor there with the idea of like different colors of like purity of your core and whatnot. How powerful it is, the more brighter it will be. So it goes from like a dark red or whatever and slowly becomes white. But yeah, it seemed like most of the beginning segments, his overpoweredness was the fact that he was just basically applying the mana as he did his previous life, which his previous life they had ki.
Right.
So it went from like an energy source of ki to mana. So it's basically like using that in the same way and obviously making himself super fast. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Here, let me show you. Okay, now everybody's done now. Oh, here you go. Oh, that's how it works? All right, cool. No, it was just Jasmine. Jasmine was the only one that could figure it out. Everybody else couldn't figure it. Jasmine did, because Jasmine was Doki Doki for him. Anyways, by the end of the first core, how many girls were his harem?
3.
3? So the elf, Jasmine, and not the mom.
No. There was a girl in that town.
Granny.
Yeah, there was a girl in the town that he went to. Possibly 2. I'm trying to remember if there was a second one.
Well, he already has Sylphie, so what's the other one going to be?
Huh?
Which character was the other one? We already had he obviously means Sylphie. And that was in the cage that he frees.
The
elf?
elf?
Who was the girl that he meets in the village? Which one is she?
If you have useless town merchant character type in Mushoku Tensei, that would be her.
Useless town character, Mushoku Tensei. I guess
Jasmine would probably fit Roxy the best. So I guess useless town character would probably be Eris, but I wouldn't put her in that one.
I don't know if she beat the crap out of him. Anyway, that's the bot. I feel bad for was it the author Turtle Me? I feel bad for him because I know this wasn't what he was kind of expecting. But you have to lay in the bed you make. So Apothecary Diaries, Chris. That is definitely one that I do want to talk about. Dude, it's one of those things where if you have a run go for a half a year, it's so hard to remember like what happened at the very beginning of the first core rather. The Carry Diaries. Because when I was going to do my my top 10 list, because obviously it's got to be on my top 10 list, the thing that I was struggling with was like, oh, that's right. They had like the whole thing with Liha. That stuff happened in this season. I'm like, I'm suddenly remembering all the stuff that happened in the season besides the whole stuff around the She clan and stuff that they had in the later parts of the second season. So, but yeah, I don't know if we technically have to do like the full on breakdown of what this is. It's basically a girl that's an apothecary that eventually gets tied up with the rear palace. At some point, she gets the attention of like the guy that heads the rear palace. And so him knowing that she's really smart, every time something odd comes up that he has to figure out, he goes to her. He goes to Mao Mao. Mao Mao will figure it out. She'll figure it out somehow, and she always does. But yeah, going into the second season, that's where things got really interesting because I think the first half was just mostly around like the convoy that came in, them trying to figure out what the convoy wants, getting into the royalty, really. Mm-hmm. A lot to do with the royalty. And then, yes, the worst kept secret of them all is the fact that Jinshi's tied in with the royalty somehow and getting into all that stuff. And then eventually getting into the She clan.
We put a lot of emphasis on the frog.
Yeah, the frog.
We had the appearance of the frog. Jinshi stopped taking his meds and then found a frog, pet frog.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you stop taking your meds and you start messing with frogs. So what'd you think of the second season?
How do I say anything less than brilliant? I don't think that I could.
Anything less than brilliant? You say? Oh, how do you say it?
Yeah, I don't think that I could.
Great.
I don't think I could.
Oh, you
I think
can't.
that
Okay.
would be underselling this quite a bit. They did fantastic. This season was phenomenal. I think I had a little bit of a hard
But they
time.
made Xiaolin cry.
I think they had.
I thought when Xiaolin cried, you'd be like dropping it.
No.
No.
Because
they gave her ice cream afterwards.
because Mau Mau saved her and gave her ice cream.
Because Mama gave her ice cream and fixed
gave
it.
her ice cream.
And then she popped up out of nowhere.
No, I think I had a little bit of a hard time with the kind of first ones, but I learned from the first season that some of the kind of the lesser stories do kind of equal into the bigger story. And so I kind of pushed through it. I still think that they were fantastic. It kind of felt like it was meandering for a little bit. But when they finally got, if I want to be honest, when they finally got to the Kitsune village, I absolutely was all in. I absolutely loved that part. I was really frustrated towards the end of it, but I'm hoping that we will get kind of a loop back from that kind of ending, so that part won't be completely lost, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
without spoiling, because I do think that character was fantastic.
Yeah, I think you reminded me of something that I brought up in my top 10 favorites of the season when I brought up this particular show. One of the main key things I said is that it's a true testament to the writing of a story when you get to a point where the writer makes a decision to do something and they follow through with it, and you're constantly hoping that they won't. You want it to have a Hollywood ending just because you love the characters that much.
Yeah.
And this was definitely one of those seasons where towards the later part, I said, please don't do this. And I'm getting really angry. And it keeps going. It set its rules and it kept with its rules. And there was so many points where I said, I was doing it in my impressions video, and like, they could technically have this character come in and go, you know what? I am in control. And I say everything's great. And everybody just kind of puts down their weapons. But it followed through with it. It had to. Like,
Yeah.
It legit set the rules. He has to do this. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm like, but I don't want you to. But I don't want you. I don't want you to. But at least it's one of those ones where you kind of see sort of a sprinkling of, like, nods and winks every now and then that kind of makes you feel a little bit okay about it. But, again, my whole point there is that the fact that I loved this one character so much in the season is proof that having that investment and wanting things to go in a different route is a sign that they did a really good job with this particular arc. And that's just mostly the second core. The first core had some, I agree with you. It's similar to like the second core of the first season, where there's a sprinkle of a story here or there, which is not like phenomenal. Like the whole ghost story episode, while it had the significance in there and there was some cute points in it, wasn't the greatest episode. I don't remember if there was anything else in there besides the ghost story bit. There might have been something else in there I'm forgetting. But there was some other ones in that first core, like the Liha story. Oh my gosh, dude, Liha! I want a happy story segment with Liha. Can we not have her always suffering? like the first season, we left her being like, restored, and she's got new purpose despite losing her child, and things are going better, and the Emperor's visiting her on a regular basis because, damn it, she ain't got the body he wants. She got the perfect body he wants, and she's healthy again. And then, like, second core, cool, we're getting back to her again. Oh, she's being betrayed by literally her sister. Well, it's not really her sister, but basically her sister. And I'm like, can she be happy? And like that whole bit there of her like calling her out, I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then, yeah, she just turns and slaps her. But yeah, that was like a lot of really good stories in the first half. But like I said, I would agree that there's like a bit of what happened with the first season, second core, where there is a story here and there. But I think the second half, the second core, really did feel like the season started really picking up, and it built into something that I've been wanting for a long time. The series has its weakest link, and it's that I don't necessarily think it's not a weakest link technically. It's not a weakness of the writer. It's just that for me to go down this rabbit hole of acceptance that I'm assuming is going to happen eventually, I need this established. It seems obvious from the very beginning that Mao Mao and Jinshi should be getting together at some point. Like, it seems like that's the obvious, like, relationship thing there. I'd be super shocked if the writer actually just said, nope, this is never happening. I don't know why you guys thought this was going to happen. It's never happening. But the assumption there is that eventually Mao Mao and Jinshi would get together, but I don't feel it. And I don't really care about Jinshi's character. Like, he's fine as a playoff of Mao Mao, because I love seeing her, like, react to him every now and then. But I needed something established between them. And I really do feel like Jinshi's character grew a lot with this second season. I now sort of get him as a character. I've seen him do some really cool stuff. His character grew quite a bit. He found a frog. And I started to see semblances of how their relationship could work out. And I think that's the important thing, because what we sort of solidified in this season from Mao Mao's perspective, when it comes to anything with him, and technically with all of her friends and everybody around her, is she's broken. Like, there was one little snippet out of nowhere where it said, this is why Mao Mao is so disconnected from people. And I went, oh, I wasn't expecting this, but I'll take it. Like, we had this little brief moment where she's like, I was back at the Verdis house, and I cried and cried and cried and cried, and nobody paid attention to me. They were busy. And so she tapped off her emotions, completely closed them off. And I'm like, okay. It's starting to make sense to me. She has a disconnection of emotion. She has a disconnection of sort of relationships and how to read emotions and how to give emotions, and how that can sort of, yes, make it very difficult for Jinshi in the future. It's definitely a thing, but I'm seeing semblance of it, and I think that's enough for there. But that was a big shock for me, is seeing Jinshi's growth, seeing him finally step forward. I'm hoping we don't see. I'm sort of dreading going in the third season that we're going to see a sort of reset with him, because it really does feel like he finally stepped out, which I was really badly wanting to do by the end of the season, because my only true criticism I would give season 2, it's way too much Jinshi, you have to tell her. Jinshi, you have to tell her. Jinshi, you're going to tell her. Jinshi, you got to tell her. When are you going to tell her, Jinshi? Jinshi, you got to tell her. Are you? It's like, just do it or don't. Just do it or just shut up, because I'm tired of hearing about how he needs to tell her and that she doesn't want to listen. Which I said before, I get why she doesn't want to listen, because the least you know in that world, the better. So just keep thinking about it. I bet no, don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Well, the implication of that knowledge is that you are technically usurping the emperor, and that is punishable by death.
Mm-hmm. That's info you should not know.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to keep it a secret, you're the first person to go. So makes sense. Anyways, looks good though. Really enjoy it. I was watching Psychotrist. He finally watched the season finale today. Dude's like a week and a half late. I think he's been busy. And he posed the question, first season versus second season. Which one do you like more?
How about cores?
That's
first
cheating.
core of the first season I loved, and second core of the second season I loved.
You're cheating. You're taking out the rot. You're taking out the rot. But you're cutting out the whole segment with Li Hua.
I know there's a lot of stuff that I'm missing, but I mean, if you're going to pose season versus second season, it's literally those are the two weakest parts that I would pose.
I would say season 1 over season 2. And why I say that is because they both have a lull point. They both have a lull point. Like you're saying, core 1, there's a couple episodes in core 1 of season 2 that is weak. And there's a few episodes in core 2 of season 1 that are weak. But at least with season 1, it's like it's a really strong first core. And then the second core is good. And then it has that lull point. And then it has, holy crap, that was a great ending. This one, season 2, is technically the same. Yes, you have a lull point in the first core. And then it starts taking off with the second core. And yes, does have a really, really, really good episode before the last, but the last episode wasn't as incredible as the first season's finale. Like, I love, like, the climax moment is holy crap. Again, my stomach was like, no, please don't do this. It was literally, please don't do this. It was like, it was so emotional. But the last episode, I cried twice. Don't get me wrong. I cried twice, but maybe I misremember the first season's last episode, though. I could be misreading it. Because I know the first season, the big thing that really get kicked my butt at the very end was Lacan stuff. I thought everything around Lacan was super good, but that probably was like way before the end, wasn't it?
It seems like the dance was the end of this first season.
Yeah, Lacan was left there in the first season. In the last episode, he would have gone and found his wife. So I think it was 23 would be where she challenges Lacan, and we get the story about Lacan. So yeah, that was a really, really big send-off point. I don't know. I still want to say this, the first season overall, I think, was like more incredible moments. Whereas season 2, I agree that quite a bit of the first core was pretty rough. It's like a 9.5 versus a 9. Like, that's what we're talking about here. So it's an interesting question, though.
Well, I mean,
just find this writer does have low points.
I mean, if you're being honest, I mean, if you take that into consideration, okay, take into consideration what I'm saying. The first part of the first season is what I loved. The second part of the second season is what I loved. So you're which one am I ending the season out with? I'm ending out with a super high point on the second season. I'm not ending out with a super high point on the second or on the first season. It's not
With
necessarily
Lacan's story.
I think Lacan's story was fantastic, but it's not as high as I ended with the Kitsune Village. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. I was glued to that seat, that entire part. I loved it.
But see, for me, it's like with what you're talking about there, it's like episode 22 and 23. And then 24 was like after the climax, and it kind of chills out. And with like Apothecary, with season 1, it's like the very end of 22, 23, and then 24 are like the big climax of it. I don't know. I do think that a lot of people kind of give, I agree with the second core of the first season having lulls, but I think it was only really around like the goldfish tank, that the whole like Zelda puzzle room, the Zelda like the moment she went, put the fish tank on that counter. It's got a circle on top of it. It obviously had a fish tank on it for forever. Put that up there. It's obviously going to be an optical effect or a lens or something. I don't know. It's like I kind of think there was a few more of them. But it was really kind of everything building up to the catastrophe.
And we're, I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, we're quibbling about little dinks. I mean, it's not really that much of a difference. Like you said, the 9 versus 9.5. I mean, I think that's apt. I'm just I'm just making
24 episodes being okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of balance. If I'm making it visible, I mean, it would be like that. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all freaking amazing. I'll just shut up now instead of putting my foot in my mouth.
I want one more in here before we talk
One
about
more
the
foot.
last thing.
I can't put no more foots in my mouth.
Please put them on Takamine-san. I'm gonna I'm gonna throw a curveball at Chris. We're gonna talk about please put them on Takamine-san.
It freaking looks amazing. There's some fantastic art.
No, it doesn't. There is some.
Look, fantastic art. Shut up.
There's some good stills. Very detailed stills. I agree with you, but man, that's got some wonky character designs here and there that kind of threw me. But at least it's not Elf. Do you finish watching the Dark Elf show?
No.
Oh my gosh, that show got so bad visually. It wasn't even funny. Like I cannot believe I watched a show that is an ecchi show that made me
question
turned off. That's the best way to put it. It's turned off. Like, this is supposed to be sexy, and it's not. That is not what it is. I was trying to find this fellow right here while I was talking. Takamines. There you go. So yeah, for those who don't know what Takamine-san is, it's about this guy who he's like, it feels like he shouldn't exist anywhere. Like, he's a total like extra in the room at all times, and he's always gone to school with the same girl, Takamine. Like, every grade that he goes to, for some reason, she's always there, and she's like the opposite of him. She's like perfect grades and everything. And yeah, at some point, he is eating his lunch in like the PE storage room, and Takamine comes walking in, and he hides. And apparently it seems like she didn't have a top on, and she was putting one on. He's like, that's kind of weird. Why wasn't she wearing one? Well, then cut to class. He gets a horrible score like he always does on exam. And then Takamine is called up, and she did not get a perfect score, which is shocking to everybody because this is like the perfect girl. Like, she gets perfect grades and everything. And she's like, is that an error? And the teacher's like, I'm afraid not. This is kind of shocking, really. And then she proceeds to just yank her pantsu off right in front of the class. And he's like, what the hell is she doing? But man, she looks so soft. And then suddenly, it just, out of nowhere, she's back in her seat, and he's getting called up to the front of the class again. He's like, wait, what just happened? I could have swore I saw those soft cheeks. But he proceeds to go up there and get his test. And then she gets called again, and she's got perfect grades. He's like, this is weird. So he's convinced he's seen this and that something happened. And so he decides to go to the student council office, where she's a student council president, and confront her. She immediately asks, well, did you see it? Or something like that. And he's like, of course I seen it. What the heck happened there? And then that's when she reveals to him that, yes, she has the power Eternal Virgin Rodo, which is whenever she takes off any piece of underwears, she turns back time. And she's been doing this for a while now to essentially offset any sort of mistakes that she makes. But yeah, whenever she like messes up something, or she fails to get first place in a ride or something like that, or race, she just pulls them down and pops back time. The only problem is that every time she does it, the underwear that she takes off disappears. Which that's where our main character Shirota comes into the picture. She wants him to become her personal closet. That whenever he sees that she's done something, he's got to come in there and replace them. Because yes, it seems that based on the fact that he's seen her putting on, because he's seen her chest basically, her naked, he's able to not be affected by it. Because everybody else time resets and they forget. But for now, whenever she's doing it, time resets for him. He doesn't see what happened or changed, but at least he still remembers that a reset happened. And so it's going to be his duty to replace him. So every now and then, suddenly he realizes a reset happened. He'll look to her, and she's kind of just sitting there waiting for him. And yeah, the joke is, for the most part, the beginning of the show is just, and it continues throughout the entire thing, is like these absurd moments where she would require him to put them on, but they're like in public or whatever, so he has to do it very discreetly. Like one example is they're in middle class, and so he has to act like he dropped his eraser, go over there, and when he reaches down, slip them on,
and then he realized that he didn't get them all on, so now he's got to look really stupid, by the way, somehow extend his knee underneath the desk to push them between her legs. That looks so stupid. It looked visually so stupid. I'm like, okay, whatever, that didn't work like that. But anyways, yes, that's the gist. What are you thinking? And obviously over time we find out that, yeah, they shared a moment in the past, so they're obviously destined for each other because of a cat. They took care of a cat. You remember the cat? Gosh, why wouldn't you remember the cat?
Yes, that was wrong of him.
So what do you think of Shinjagahara, the anime Shinjagahara?
Yes, this is absolutely Shinjagahara.
Walmart Shinjagahara.
This is such a top-bottom thing that she doesn't want to be the top, but she's the top, and she has to stay being the top, and it's such a stupid show for the whole top-bottom thing, and it was so frustrating. I liked it, just generally the goofy angst of it, but story-wise, I didn't much care for it. The character personalities and their motivations didn't quite work the way it felt like they should. Maybe this is rectified later on down the road, but ultimately, like I said, Takamine is clearly doesn't want to be in the position she's at, and yet she, for the most part, she keeps feeling like she has to stay portraying this dominating personality, which she's not. She clearly is not, and she doesn't want to be. So it was this weird thing of her constantly trying to get Shirota to be more forward, but at the same time not letting him get so forward that he forgets himself and goes above his station, which clearly she wants him to. So yeah, it is what it is.
This was kind of a roller coaster for me because I think like early on, the first episode felt bad, and I mentioned before that I've read the manga quite a bit. I think the amount that I read the manga would probably equate to 4 episodes of what the anime does. And so I had a sense of what would happen early on, but like when I watched the show, it's like suddenly it kind of visualized and gave voice to like a lot of what doesn't really feel good at the very beginning, which is the idea of her literally blackmailing him into becoming her closet because she tricks him into touching her, and then she calls out and tells people that she has been attacked by him and assaulted by him. They call in the police. They're literally cuffing him and taking him away before she finally says, "Will you do it?" and steps up to him while he's literally, "This is it, my life's over." Walks up to him and is literally, "Are you going to do it?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll become your closet." And suddenly she resets everything for him. And then he's terrified of that ever happening again. I didn't get that bad feeling when I read it. I'm like, haha, it's that joke, whatever, move on. But for some reason, watching the show, I'm like, oh, this feels super bad. I don't like this girl. But I wanted to not take it seriously, even though I think there's quite a bit of this show that's trying to take itself seriously. It's like, it's not a rom-com. It's still got like it's like it's got slice of life from romance in it. Like it's still trying to tell a story about their relationship. It's trying to tell about what she's going through and what he's going through and how they can come together. It's trying to take it seriously outside of the ecchi and the comedy every now and then. But I didn't want to take it seriously. I'm like, whatever, it's fine. It brings up a little bit again in episode 2 because he's like, again, bringing up the fact that he's afraid of not listening to her now because he's afraid of that. But it kind of gets away from it for the most part. And I was okay with the show. It just felt kind of repetitive with just constantly, she does something off screen. He goes, "Oh yeah, she must have changed something. I got to put him on her again." Or him being conflicted with how much he wants to sort of stay with that leash. Because like there's moments where she goes out jogging at some point and says, "Bring me my clothes" or whatever. And he's like, "But should I do this? We're technically not at school. Should I do this now, or is she testing me or whatever?" And I kind of just kept going with it. It was fine. But then at some point, I I grew to really hate Takamine. And that really bodes well for me ever really kind of enjoying this show if it ever had a second season. And that was the appearance of the childhood friend. The other childhood friend. Technically, they're all childhood friends. Ellie. Out of nowhere, another childhood friend back from the days of the park that apparently Takamine remembers of Shirota. There was another girl named Ellie. And he runs into her at cram school, I believe, right? And so they start getting caught up. And they go out together to kind of hang out at the park. And she's a total goofball. Like, she is a kid at heart. It implies that she went to, like, a all-girls school and stuff like that. She's not very used to being around boys, at least older. And so she just immediately goes, let's play again. And she gets a bunch of water balloons. And she wants to play water balloons again. And then Takamine shows up and goes full-on jealousy mode. Because she misinterpreted the balloons being... yes, protection. She decides to assault Shirota. And then when it's explained to her what's going on, she doesn't apologize for it. And then later on, when they're at the diner together, Ellie wants to have like a stayover, I think for a study session, if I remember correctly. And immediately Takamine starts to badmouth Shirota, saying that you shouldn't trust being alone with him because he will assault you. And I'm like, I don't care if she's jealous. I get the whole jealousy thing, but I literally hate this girl right now because not only she just assaulted him, first blackmail, now assault with no apology, and here she's literally just like defaming him in front of his childhood friend, all because she's jealous. Like, give me a reason to like you. Like, I'm fine with laughing this stuff off, but you have to give me a reason to like you. And it just snowballed from there. Like, I could not like her as a character, even though I found her charming at first. Because she has a very much so a can-do attitude. Even though she has a reset button, basically, she still tries hard because, I mean, there's only so many punts you're going to take off before you're going to go broke, right? So it's like there's an element of, like, she still has to get smart because she can't just keep endlessly resetting. She wants to reduce the amount of punts she has to buy. So there's a can-do attitude. She's a go-getter. She has that charm about her. Yeah, she's got that little bit of you know, that aesthetic to her that is from Shinjuku, even though she's not anywhere near as good as Shinjuku, obviously.
She's not as smart.
She's not ever anywhere close there. It's just a show with characters I just had a hard time liking. The only characters that I liked was Ellie and her girlfriend. Those like I was like, I want a show with those two. Can I have a show with those two? Even though Ellie's dealing with her own jealousy on her side. The goth chick, she was like super jealous. Yeah, I didn't like it in the end. Had some wonky character designs here and there. The ecchi's good, but was not a favorite, unfortunately. I think of all the ecchi shows, I still think this is an easy second. I liked Makina-san. Makina-san wasn't trying. It wasn't trying to make me like the characters. It wasn't trying to make me see romance good in it. It was just stupid. This one was just, this is a slice of life drama rom-com with ecchi. It's not ecchi first. So that's technically much different than Marina-san, which is, Lovebot is just full on dumb. dumb. Like, genres are dumb, ecchi. This is trying to be rom-com. So it's trying to tell a story. And then, like, the way over here, like, 2 states over. Yeah, that right there. You got your telescope. Can you see it? That's Yandere Elf. That's way over than the crap heap over there. That was a garbage show. That was a garbage show. What do you expect from that studio? You want to talk about To Be Hero a little bit. What do you I got Chris to watch To Be Hero, and he finally, I think he said that you watched To Be Hero X.
Yeah.
How have you been enjoying that one?
I liked it.
Okay, good. I thought that I was like on a, what was I 1 for 1 on suggestions to you, and I was afraid I was going to have another you suck for telling me to watch this show.
Which one was that?
Because I know you like Apocalypse Hotel, so that was a positive. But there was another show that I suggested, and you weren't big on it. I forget what it was. But yeah, those who don't know, To Be Hero X is basically a world that at some point there's this trust value appeared where the more people trust you and look up to you, whatever, you gain power from them. And everybody on the wrist has a trust value, and it counts how many people have their trust value to you. And the higher that number, the more powerful you are. And thus spawns the concept of heroes in this world. There are people with the highest trust value become heroes, and they protect the land. And it seems like, yeah, as society does, it's been pretty much corporatized, where companies sprout up, agencies sprout up that have their top heroes that everybody adores, and they do advertising and banners and billboards and meet and greets, and it's all for the shooting for number one, which they have like the top 10 ranks of heroes, and then there's X, which is basically number one. And so every now and then they'll have a tournament where people compete to become X. And so far with the show, we've been kind of jumping around time, going to each individual like hero they want to spotlight. The first one was Nice, which wasn't about Nice. It was about another guy who had to do all the advertising for the company that Nice is a part of. And he's like super jealous of Nice. And then one day when he's on top of this building and he's got fired, Nice just walks by him and jumps off and dies. Jumps off the side of the building and dies. And so they decide to make him into Nice, which all they had to really do was like dress him up to look like Nice, because he looks pretty much like him. And suddenly he started getting all the trust value from the dead Nice to him, and he becomes a new Nice. And yeah, that goes into Isol's story, which is a guy that was saved by Isol, and he wants to become Isol until he eventually challenges Isol to become Isol. There was Lucky Cyan's story, which she was an orphan from a plane wreck, and that she somehow survived, and she has the power of luck, and then everybody wants to exploit her luck from her. There's Queen, who is an up-and-coming hero who started very young. She's kind of a young genius, and she wanted to basically become X so that she could overturn the trust system. There's Lolly, who was inspired by Queen because she made this big speech about how she wanted to overturn the trust system and how women can be powerful too. So Lolly is a girl that is too cute, but wants to be taken seriously. She likes cute things. She wants to look cute, but she hates the fact that looking cute people don't basically take her seriously. And then last one I think we had was Ghost Blade, which was dark as hell. But Chris hasn't watched that one yet.
I haven't watched Ghost Blade, no.
It was super dark. Super dark. So what's your thoughts so far? Because we still got, I think, like 9 more episodes.
I absolutely loved Nice's story. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I think that Isol was kind of my only real kind of lull in the story.
The ending was so good, though.
It was. I mean, it was weird.
I agree with you, but the ending was so good.
That one was the closest one to a lull that I had, and that's kind of putting it in this kind of weird category of implying that because once the kind of trigger point for the new Isol, which was that moment, I think that was the moment that it really kind of started to shine, and it was like, oh, you didn't fall off the cliff.
What was great is that the ending of Isol's story, or Yang's story technically, the ending of Yang's story is both like so good, but I hate it. Because it implies that, I mean, full on spoilers here, by the way. It implies that he killed Isol. He killed him. Like the person he looked up to this whole time. But it was like an aspect where he felt like the only way that he could undo the wrong that was done to Shang, in order to root out who caused his death, he had to get power quick. And to get that, he had to take over Isol's position. But it led to his death. And so it feels really bad. Like, Isol did nothing. They never implied Isol did anything wrong. But yet Yang is going to kill him so that he can gain power to be able to get revenge for his friend? So kill an innocent hero in order to get revenge for your friend that nobody knows? Like, it's manipulation, obviously. Rock can manipulate the hell out of him, but it's like, this feels bad. This is supposed to be a good ending, and this is a bad ending. And then Rock's standing there, oh, it's so great up here at the top, huh? I'm like, you dirtbag. I like how this dude legit opened a wiener shop in order to adopt a random kid that was saved by Isol, all so that he can groom him to get old enough until he can want to become the next Isol, so that he can have the kid replace Isol. Big brain rock right there. The entire wiener shop was to mold Yang into somebody that will listen to him. It implies later on that Rock's perspective is to basically mold the hero so they never, ever disobey you. And so that whole thing there was Rock literally trying to groom Yang into being the perfect hero under him. He will never disobey me because he sees me as a father. That's what he was talking to. I don't know if you've seen that episode yet. He was talking to the other guy from FOMO that he left. He was talking to that guy and basically telling him...
Ghost Soul, he couldn't get a hold of Ghost Soul. Ghost Blade, excuse me.
No, I'm talking about the scene before then. He was talking to the guy from FOMO, and FOMO was talking about how he was letting Shindig go. And he's like, you got to keep them on a short leash. You can't just discard them.
Oh.
And this whole idea of... And sure enough, Shindig's basically destroying the entire lab. It's the idea of
and
like...
And when in that same sequence of scenes, he comments because he's trying to call Ghostblade, and he's how's that working out for you?
Yeah, can't go hold him, mate. He was trying to call his daughter. Yeah, come on, be mean. But I mean, that's sort of this kind of cool thing, a meta story this entire thing's had is like, I love the corporatizing of the heroes aspect because it's always this thing of like, especially a Mickey. I hate Mickey. I hate him so much. Like the whole story with him and Queen and Boa, like he's so manipulative of them and how he treats Lucky Cyan. This is a guy that, and again, I give it credit in a sense because what you're dealing with is they're manufacturing heroes. I can make you a hero just by putting your face up on that billboard, but I need you to work with me. And sure enough, once they put the face up on that billboard and suddenly you are like a top 15, you can kill me with a flick of your finger. But I still have to be able to control you. That's the thing. So like with Mickey, it's all about like I made Queen who she is. It implies the idea that he made her speech, made her with the power that she has, which you gotta get into the whole power and curse thing, by the way. I made her into what she had, but I still have to control. And that's like with Boa. Okay, she got you up there, you're X, now it's time to give it up to Queen. Boa's like, hell no, I earned X. I'm not gonna give it up to Queen. You're going to give it to her because you got there because of her speech in our campaign. Time to give up that position. She doesn't want to give it up. Like, how do you make a hero who can kill you pretty damn quick? How do you make them not kill you and listen to you? There's like this whole family thing that Mickey's doing with them. That's just super interesting to get into. And I think as the stories went along, we're getting more and more of that. And I do really like, sorry, anyways, what were you saying?
I don't remember.
I completely derailed the whole story with the East. You were saying the East Soul was the one that dragged out for you. That's right.
The beginning parts of it, when everything kind of came together with the let's just say the shot, that kind of twisted the entire story, and it was like, oh, okay, I see where you're going here, and everything kind of fell into place. And I thought that was absolutely brilliantly done.
Like half an episode of crazy freaking animation battle. Because that's the thing we have to talk about, like with Nice's story and Yang's story, like the first, what would it be, like 7 episodes were all like CGI, like this really well done style of CGI, which for those that don't know what we're talking about,
it kind of went back and forth between the CGI and the 2D.
It was whenever it was like flashbacks or like the climax of a fight, it would go 2D. Most of Isol versus Isol's fight was 2D done. Most of Nice's fights were CGI, but half 2D. But it was like, what was it, the League of Legends anime, Arcane? It's like, it's very Arcane, or there was that Spider-Man, is it the Into the Spider-Verse? Isn't that one like an artistic,
I don't know,
CGI? It's that kind of style. It's a very sketchy looking,
but I don't know.
It's a very sketchy looking CGI cell shaded style, which is really good. Like I actually liked it, but we haven't had CGI since then. Like I feel, because they have like 3 different studios, and it feels like ever since those Isol's finished, we've been on 2D, which I like because I think like some of the 2D animation they've done is incredible. Like
Boa versus Queen. Oh my gosh. That was another one that was
That
like
was
half
insane.
an episode. Isol versus Isol, like I said, was incredible. Loli didn't really have any really good fights. I love all the fight with Cyan. I like archery fighting.
Lolly had the big old fight with the disco head guy.
It wasn't that much. I mean, before he actually powered up himself, it didn't look good. I started getting kind of worried for a minute there. But yeah, once he powers himself up, it was all right. But I think the fight with the stalker was was a bit more crazy, but it was too dark, so it's hard to really see.
That one was cool.
That was hard to see a little bit of there, but yeah, there's some really good fight sequences, and that's what I kind of been really loving about the show. But the thing that really gets me is, like I said, I like the corporatization of the heroes. I do like that aspect, using people and all that kind of stuff. The thing that always gets me is the power system. Because that not only do they have, again, your trust value is how much people, look up to you and trust you, whatever, that gains you points, and you get stronger and stronger the higher that value is. But at some point, there's a side effect, and it's the curse. That they imply that once you first gain like a certain point of your trust value, you get sort of an ability that is manifested in what people desire of you. But then there's a curse aspect to it as it gets more and more. So you're getting to it. A good example is, was it not Queen? Moon. Moon's a good example. Moon is Nice's girlfriend. Not by design, not by choice, by the way. Moon is Nice's girlfriend. And the way they described her story was that she was a traveling blogger. So she would go to locations and she would take pictures and post them online. And she gained a followership. And at some point, she suddenly gained powers. What was that power? The ability to go anywhere with this little transportation gun. So people's desire for her as somebody of value, and her trust value got to a certain point, it manifests to, we want her to go to places because we can't wait to see where she goes next. Man, I wish she would go to Florida. Man, I wish she can go here. So the power manifested the ability to transport herself somewhere else. It manifests what people want her to do. But at some point, she was caught in this little incident, and Nice showed up and saved her. Then suddenly, the curse happened, which is the side effect of people's desires for her. Now suddenly, as she got more and more popular, and they seen that she interacted with Nice, everybody wanted her to go to Nice. They want her to be with Nice. So suddenly, the curse aspect is she can only go to Nice. She's like, well, why? He's like, at some point, it was Yang, or Linling, sorry. Linling at some point was like, what's wrong with the thing? Why don't you use it? She's like, well, it only goes to Nice.
And that was kind of the same deal with a couple other characters. I mean, every single one of them, at some point, they usually kind of reveal a side effect to what they have. And that's always been kind of fascinating to me. Like, poor firm man, standing man, whatever you want to call him. Dude can't. He always has to stand. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I can see having to stand to sleep is kind of off-putting. But, like, the moment he has him, he's trying to take a dump. And I'm like, oh, that's wrong. Dude can't even sit to take a dump. Like, that's so wrong. But they've been kind of clever in that whole thing. I've always been kind of fascinated whenever we get into the whole curse.
Actually, when I was talking about the whole thing with Isol, I forgot about Stanman. The fact that Stanman was just before Isol. Because Stanman was a continuation, because that goes into my other, it's not really a quibble, but it's kind of one of those things that took me a little bit of time to kind of adjust my thinking, was the fact that this story is being told backwards. And me and Andrew had gotten into the conversation about that, and I was pointing out, I wonder if that's going to be the ultimate conclusion, is that they're going to keep on going backwards, and then hopefully maybe at some point go into the future and then talk about X, which I think is going to be their ultimate goal, because X has never really been discussed that much. I think that we've had one clip of him, and maybe another cameo at one other point where they showed him one other time. But X has been kind of this kind of mysterious figure.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Don't know why he's so powerful since nobody knows who he is, and how can he have trust value? Yet he just wins.
Yep. I think his power is going to be fascinating.
I think it's literally probably just going to be like reality manipulation.
You think it's going to be that, or
I think the reason why Lin Ling's seen that Moon was dead was his powers. I think that the reason why he stopped Queen is because he probably seen that Queen was going to be a threat to the trust system. Because my theory around Queen was that she made the speech with a sole purpose. Again, this goes back to that whole power manifestation thing. What people see in you as you become a hero is what your power ends up being. What does she do in her speech? She proclaims that she will stand at the top and basically be queen and essentially undo the trust system. I will wear X as a crown. Like, legit in the speech, it's saying, make me queen powers, people. And what does queens do? Control. And I think that he probably seen that she was going to achieve X, and that's why he made his move right then and took her out and won against her. Because I think he probably foreseen that she was going to take over. So I think it makes me believe that he has like a reality manipulation, but that might also include resetting time. He may have seen that Queen... My theory is that Queen probably took X and then essentially chose who would be heroes and who would not be heroes.
Well, I was going with that, or I was going more along the lines of because of the coin flip. But I guess that could kind of go into what you're saying.
I think you just like flipping coins. Why do you have to make... why are you dogging on the guys like for flipping coins?
Well, I think that his coin flip is his basically he has two choices of a moment. So he has a moment, and because it didn't really say that she got beat up or anything, it just said that she lost. That's all it said. It didn't really imply that there was any kind of a battle. It just a split second she was down.
Yeah, there's no data on it. Like, literally they're all trying to research into him. They don't know how he's winning, but he's winning.
Yeah.
Like, they would know what his power is if they saw battle footage of him winning, but they literally know nothing about him.
And so that was basically where I was going with the coin flip. The coin flip was the battle. If he had lost the coin flip, then she would have won. But I seriously doubt that he would ever let that happen.
Flip it again.
He just flip it again or something like that.
It's like he does this. Oh, then like, damn, must have lost once.
So I think that his power is going to be kind of more the most interesting of all of them.
I like the very brief interaction that we get with him. He literally just walks in there. He's like, "Hey," just like, what is this idiot?
But the reason why I brought up the entire story being told backwards is I think that that's kind of one of the more fascinating aspects of the storytelling. Instead of it's basically using Nice as a way to present the story. Then it goes into the
well, it also hinted at quite a bit about what the ultimate choice that heroes have to make. And I think that was probably getting into the idea that you have to choose between those around, or choose between basically normal life and focusing on being a hero. He had to give up Moon.
Yeah.
That was his
choice. Is what he really wanted.
And that is his curse as well. And again, I think that was sort of what was getting to a little bit with the previous Nice, is that perfection aspect ultimately driving him down the hole. And that was sort of what they kind of showed with Firm Man that Nice ran into. Mm-hmm. That curse aspect. You have to accept this curse.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of a lot of setup. I agree with that.
And then for the first time after Stan Man's story, it goes backwards in time for the first time, and that was with Isol. And the reason why it took me a second to figure this out because it was showing Enlighter. Well, Enlighter we already know turned into God Eye, and so having him in Isol's story as Enlighter, it was kind of threw me for a loop.
They usually showed like the years. Like with Nice, Nice was in 41.
I wasn't paying attention to that crap.
Yeah, there's this commission, which I'm assuming the commission's probably.
I did start noticing
power
it after
start.
A while.
And Nice was 41, and then Isol was 36.
I want to say that I started noticing
Queen
it
was
with
26.
Queen is when I
so
started.
10 years. Mm-hmm. We're going back 10 years. Well, 5 years, 10 years. 5 years, 10 years. But to go against what he says, just so nobody goes, actually, yes, Loli technically is inspired by Queen, so it's a little bit after, but it's pretty much the same time frame. Like, pretty much everything around Queen and Lucky Cyan and I'm assuming eventually Johnny, Loli, that's kind of that same 10-year span. So we kind of went back 10 years, and then we're kind of stuck in this little 10-year period. But yeah, it's pretty much continues to go. And then Ghost, like I was mentioning to Chris, he hasn't seen it yet. Ghost Blade is year 19, I think. So we're going even further back. So yeah, we're just going to keep going backwards until we go to the Mankind's creation, then we'll just stop the show. We'll go back to 0 point, the Big Bang, whatever you want to call it, the creation from the gods.
And that'll be X's origin story.
So it just keeps going backwards, and one episode's going to open up with 0. Like literally 0 of time, not commissioned, 0. And it's literally... And then everything's erased because he failed. He failed his own coin toss. The creation coin toss failed and dead. Just deletes everything.
But at any rate, it's been a fun little batch. I am super excited about the future of the show. That's for a fact. I'm glad you told me to watch it.
The plane scene. How hard did you cry at the plane scene?
How hard did I cry at
the black box? The birth of luck.
Oh,
that's a bad pause. I got super emotional. That got me bad.
I thought it was real sweet. Bad. I do think it was sweet.
Because it was like this whole concept was that she was stealing luck from people. There was this rumor that she was stealing luck from people. And so for a brief minute, I'm like, well, so that means that she technically did take luck? No, this was the birth of her powers. And that was literally everybody wanting her to live. They wanted, by some stroke of luck, this baby will live on. And so it's like, I wish I could see my child again.
They put their trust in her.
I wish that I can do this. Yeah. I wish that I could have seen my son again. I wish that I can go home. I'm tired, all that kind of stuff. And it all fed. And I love how all the hands reaching out to her and all kind of lifting her up. Please live on. I'm like, oh, God, no, KO. Andrew's been KO'd. It was super good. I loved everything around Lucky Cyan, though. Like, I love Lou when he first helped her break her luck.
I kind of hope that he kind of is a part of her story in the future. I really do.
Right? What happened to him?
Well, they went backwards in time.
What happened to him? Well, I mean, the whole Queen arc, she's there with them.
Yeah, but but that's
she went out with Queen on vacation.
That was technically in the time before she went to go and get him.
No, at some point, Queen does hear about Lucky Cyan's controversies, and they go to Lucky Cyan and tell her where the black box data is, and she goes off that.
That was the continuation.
Then
of the
she
story.
goes off and she starts to work on being a hero again, and then she fights Boa. And then she and even talk about how she's gonna get a rematch with Lucky. This is after the orphanage. Lucky's hanging out with Johnny and talking about you're gonna get your rematch with Boa, which happened way back there. And then she's going off on vacation with Lucky. This is this is after. There's a time. Somebody sent me a roadmap that I think you'll probably like.
Okay.
Because there's some people that are keeping track of all the dates. I'm just doing it out of my head, but I'm sure that would probably be much easier to figure out some of this stuff. What are we talking about? But yeah, the plane crash was super good. But yeah, I loved I think the Lucky hits the whole beginning segment with her and Lou with the song. I was like, he's such a good boy. They better not kill off this boy. But I agree with you. Don't kill off this boy. I'm also looking forward to see Johnny too.
I think that he's a good counterbalance to her. I think that is an important. He is Calamity. Aspect. He is the counter of the luck, and I think that is in all actuality the thing that she needs is something that can counteract her overabundance of luck and make her feel like she's actually normal, which is what she wants.
Calamity. Boys, Calamity. So the only ones that we haven't done yet that were on the original list of characters is Dragon Boy, Little Johnny, and the dog. We still gotta get the dog. I'm actually very curious about the dog because I think if I remember correctly, at least in the PV that I seen, or maybe I'm thinking of the OP, one of the initial PVs prior to the release, or one of the OP somewhere, it shows him in a very older style anime style. So we're going from the CGI they did for Yang, Isol story and Nice's story, and they went to 2D, and I think this is going to go for like a very retro 2D look to it, if I remember correctly. So I'm actually looking forward to
so he's going to be
the dog.
year zero.
Huh?
He's going to be year zero.
That's what it is. No, because Isol is technically kind of parallel with Lucky Cyan's story, because technically, again, Isol, they went to a concert with Lucky Cyan, Lucky Star too. So yeah, I was thinking for a minute there, like the further it goes back, the technology goes. So it's like this whole entire anime adaptation is a statement on the anime industry and how, and like as time goes on, we're building more into CGI. So as you go back in time, you're gonna see the de-evolution of anime from CGI to 2D animation to like older retro style 2D animation. That's
why this
stupid.
is such an important statement, I don't know, but hey, that's what they're gonna do.
It's stupid. Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? Because that whole joke reminded me of something.
Hey,
so do you think...
and they're discovering in the middle section fear, and they're adding fear to the hero stories.
Advance of technology.
And then in the future stories, they have quirks. This makes sense, Andrew.
You call them quirks. You literally call them quirks. Oh my gosh, vomit in my mouth. No, do you think Moon's dead?
Do I think Moon is dead?
They've faked her out 3 times now.
It'll depend on if that is actually what. If you're right about the coin flip as a way of actually killing her. And maybe this time that's going to.
Well, no, I didn't mean that killing her. What I meant there was that with Lin Ling, when he first went into that room, I felt that X, he probably foreseen a future where Nice would see the death of Moon, and it would make him go violent. I felt like he may have seen a future where Nice went rogue and violent as a villain with his powers because someone killed Moon, probably a hitman. We've established plenty of time they're hitmen in this world. Right. I mean, even when Enlighter went crazy and kidnapped Moon, they sent a hitman. With the whole Ghostblade is a hitman. They have hitmen. But my whole thought there was that somebody was ordering a kill on her because they seen that she was a threat to Nice, which was their big guy, their premier hero. She's causing problems for him. They want to get rid of her. She wants to leave. She can't just leave because she's a part of his brand. That's why they did the whole fake out death for her. And I felt like X possibly seen that and decided to alter reality to make Lin Ling see that she was dead as a warning. But he didn't protect her. And in the end, the reality came true. She dies. The same exact way, mind you. It looked like it was the same shot.
Yeah.
It's just one's in the bed there and one's on the beach. So I'm kind of thinking that was a warning back there. Expect this to happen, and then jump forward because he's in that same building, presumably. He gave him that vision. Jump forward. He failed. Now the question is, that Yang? It would have to be Yang, because that's after he took over Isol. Why would Yang do that? Again, technically Yang killed Isol, so I don't like Yang no more. I don't like Yang no more. That was the other question. Why is X's room empty?
Because he's not there.
Why is it full of shrubbery?
Because he's not there. He was never there.
Boa was in there. Boa was in there probably a week before. He legit just lost to Boa, and Boa was X. And before Boa, there was Smiley Man. Smiley Man was in there, Boa was in there, and then X takes over. Why Why is it full of shrubbery? It's so weird. Like it's like I'm
I didn't
like,
know that
what?
Boa was X.
Yeah, she was X. That's why Mickey said
I thought she was
congratulations
only
on
at 5.
No, she was the quickest. She was the quickest person to. No, Shindig was the quickest person to X. Boa was the first female in 20 years, I think. It was like it implied that it was like
To
pre
get up
10
to the top 10. It
female
didn't say X.
female to be X. So once she got X, Mickey then told her, it's time to give it up to Queen. And then when it came time for Queen to come take it from Boa, somebody beat Boa and came in and defeated Queen. And that was X. Or defeated as...
I don't think that we've gotten to anybody up that high. I'm pretty sure. But
so far, we have met as X's. The Mysterious Man is X. Boa's been X. Shindig's been X. Smiley Man was X. Who else have we had X? Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Shindig was X at some point.
I don't think
really
Shindig
does
ever got up there.
Yes, he was the quickest person to arrive at X. He was the showcase for FOMO.
Okay.
Because when FOMO came out, he was the first person to be presented on FOMO, and he became the quickest person to X, thus verifying how good FOMO is as a platform. I know this lore, Chris. You come at me. Come at me.
Well, you're doing a lot more deeper digs than I am, so.
It seems like every year there's a competition. So literally there has been, at this point, presumably 41 different... There's been 41 declared X's. It could be the same person, obviously, but it seems every year there's a new competition for X. Because even after Queen lost, or she failed to arrive because Boa was there fighting her and it made her miss the competition, it was like a year later she was going to go, she was rehab and she was planning on going to become X again. So it implies every single year they have a new tournament.
Right, I do know that.
But anyways, that's it's been interesting. It's been interesting. Who are you looking forward to at this point? I guess Little Johnny, because I really do think Ghostblade is going to be a one episode, which sucks because his story's it's gonna gut punch you. His is not a happy story, but you'll probably really like it because of that. But
well, I haven't really. I don't have any investment in any of the new characters. I mean, the dog looks interesting.
You don't like Lucky Cyan, or you just not one that's not done yet?
One that's not done yet. The only one that has my intrigue right now is
done
X.
These three.
Yeah, X is the only one that's got my intrigue, but that's only because I actually have investment in him.
I wonder if we'll get X this season. That's the question mark that I have. I'm assuming they'll probably get into X at the very end of the season.
I'm assuming.
And then I think from when I've been trying to stay away from a lot of the info being released because they're releasing way too much information, and I think a lot of it is sort of spoiling things. I've heard that because every single character gets like a PV, and I've heard from people that the PVs have technically spoilers in them. So I'm avoiding all the character PVs. I might watch them after the season ends or something, but I've only watched like the trailers that were like 4 months out from the series releasing. And I'm seeing people talk about like there's a schedule laid out which tells like what episodes will be what characters' arcs. No, I don't want to know that because then that tells me if a character is going to be around. I guess with the time jumping around, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I don't want to know what characters get into what time. I like that mystery of what's going to come up next. Like, I was speculating back when, what was it? I thought Little Johnny was going to be next after Queen because I mean they were showing Johnny, literally hanging out with her. He won her over with Big Johnny. I legit thought he had the power of stealing powers. Now I'm starting to feel more that he's probably more like he's a Pokemon trainer basically. Like he's able to control animals or something like that. But like when she said that she couldn't turn away or something like that after she legit commanded Boa, I'm like, wait, can he control people's powers and legit commanded her to not go anywhere? But no, it's because Big Johnny was so cute. I can't look away. It was so dorky. I'm like, of course the emotionless doll lady that is always super serious loves the cute animals.
She's a class president. That's
they
what
see
they
the
do.
cat and then blush, it's so cute. They start snuggling against it and everybody's watching and they go I like Enlighter, by the way.
I think In Lighter was
He's
a
actually
solid
a
story.
good guy.
I think he's a solid story.
The fact that, and it would suck because later on when we seen him with Isol's story, I'm like, oh, you're making him in the good guy after he was the villain character. But again, I felt like the speech that he made to the public after he kidnapped Moon, that speech, I'm like, he's not wrong.
Nope.
He's legit talking about what Rock is currently doing. They are manufacturing heroes. They're not like the old heroes. I bet he is for sure. What's the word?
He's probably one of the original stands. He's
probably an actual hero.
He's
an actual hero. He's foretelling, I think, what is coming up, which I think what all this is building up to is showing how all these characters were created and become heroes. To not probably, I mean, X can be a part of this as sort of he's the one that foresees it all happening and he's helping behind the scenes, because I think that he helped Cyan. He gave her a coin. He was the guy that gave her a coin. I'm damn sure that was him. He gave her a coin to help her get her on her feet so that she can start her rise to power. I think there's going to probably be a sign in every character story. I actually want to go back and watch all the stories to see if there's points in it like that. Like Lin Ling could be the seeing that Moon died. I mean, that made him appreciate her more. I think there's going to be a story with every single character that he had some involvement because he was trying to build up these characters that we're following to what will be at the end, which everybody thinks is going to be a tournament to fight X. I think it's not going to be a tournament at the end. My prediction is that it's going to all lead to a big threat. And it was what Enlighter was warning about. Back then, pre-social media, pre-FOMO, the social media network, pre all this social engineering and corporatizing of heroes, those were true heroes. They were Firm Man. Firm Man is a true hero. He's a person that chose not to let that fall on that girl. That was what that whole story was with Firm Man. It was going back to the roots. What made you a hero? Saving that girl. It wasn't standing as a pillar in front of this building. It was saving that girl and being a fireman. He wanted to go back to that. But it's all going to culminate to this thing where true heroes will have to fight some threat. And a lot of these engineered heroes are not going to be a help at all. And Lighter was technically speaking the truth in saying that you all feed into it. These are all fake heroes created by billboards. And you folks behind those screens on those social media platforms, you fed into it. I'm like, not going to lie. Dude's speaking truth. He's not wrong. And guess what? That's technically why Lin Ling became what he was, is those words too. So he chose to not be nice and chose to protect the one that he loved.
And then he became the commoner.
Yep. He became Lin Ling, not nice. I'm not nice. I'm Lin Ling. It's good stuff. Like, it's so funny how much I can actually talk about this show. I mean, I'm covering on a weekly basis. I think it's got... Is it wrong for me to say that this show is very simple, but complex?
Yeah.
It's like entertaining, simple, complex. Like, it has just enough in it that makes the episode... It's like each individual episode, which yes, is like mostly like 3 episodes an arc. You know, it went from like Nice was 4 episodes, East Souls was 3 episodes, Lucky's was 3 episodes, Queen was 2 episodes, and Lowly was 2 episodes. They're getting shorter, and I don't like that. They're like little short arcs, but they're like very simple stories, but I like the complexity of what each character goes through.
I think it's more interesting in the background, what's going on in the background. I think the characters are fantastic stories, but a lot of the background stuff is what's kind of pushing through the character story. It's character stories on top of. I think it's.
I guess how it can interweave.
It's perfect for both of us because in a lot of ways, I'm getting a lot of my character stories, and then I've got an interesting world in the background. You've got an interesting world in the background with good character stories. So it's the best of both worlds for both of us.
Yeah, I think if I can name one thing, it's probably the mechanics that I like the most. The curse. I like every single time they bring up the curse. Like you'll get it with Ghostblade, but Ghost Blades was like, oh, that sucks. That sucks. Like every one of these curses, which so far has been perfection, destination, best way I can put it.
Can't sit down. Can't.
Yeah,
Can't
Furman was not sit down.
I don't know if there was one for Isol. I honestly don't.
That's right. What was Yang's? Well, you can think that Isol himself was possibly not being able to take off his helmet. Did they ever show him? I don't think he showed him without his helmet. I think he had to keep his helmet on.
Well, if you take into consideration he had no arm, it's very likely that there was probably some kind of complication there.
I assume that he got injured really badly before he became a hero, but I wonder if his curse was the inability to be able to take off his helmet, because he even brought that up in a speech. People asked me literally his entire time as Isol, which was what, 36 years I think they said, or was it 26? A long time, multiple decades. He never took off his helmet. They asked me why I don't take off my helmet. Is it to protect the ones around me, my identity or whatever? It was because of symbolism. He was turning into symbolism, but I think it was he couldn't take it off. But Yang, I'd have to go back. I don't remember if they did get into his negative. I want to say it did. I want to say it implied it at some point. But yeah, that's odd that I didn't even think about that back then. But anyways, yeah,
he was having the same problem of not wanting to take off his helmet, though, which they kind of implied that Ling Ling was having the same problem as Nice, where he was feeling like he had to be perfect all the time. So he just didn't have it as strong, but he was getting it. So
yeah,
that might be Isol. You might be right. He can't take off his helmet, and
because the last scene that we did after he took over Isol's trust, he was wearing the helmet in front of. But he was in his room. He was wearing a helmet, so maybe he can't take it off now. That'd be interesting if that ends up being that. Lucky's Cyan's was just causing misfortune for those that she went away from. I think they were implying on it, but I think they sort of disproved that a little bit. But they seem to imply the idea that wherever she leaves, it falls apart. Like the moment she left that area, they were saying like the piping started messing up and they started getting like contaminated water and
that could have been it could have been Calamity.
I thought that too, and I almost wanted to believe that that there was almost an aspect of Cyan, because she was there, she was preventing things that should have been maintained from breaking. So because she was there, they never fixed to maintain the water systems. And so when she finally left, it did what it was normally going to do, which is become contaminated. She was preventing normal decay of stuff and whatnot. I almost felt that was going to be sort of the case for her. But again, it could be an aspect where we haven't really quite seen her curse yet. But I almost felt like it could have been an aspect of... Because Lou didn't have like a lot of people coming to him with trust. So I don't think we ever really got to see his power really manifest.
His would have been fear.
His was They called himself Calamity. But they did also imply that the origins of the fear was there, and that could have been something that he manifested.
Right.
They haven't said it yet.
If you consider fear the opposite of trust, then he wouldn't have necessarily had to have had trust. He would have had fear. And since they already were in fear that they lost her luck, he would have picked up that fear, and then all of his powers would have kicked in, which his power was already building because he had already been to several places already, and he was already known as the face of Calamity.
Yeah.
So they already had a fear for him.
Yeah, and I don't think they've really technically 100% said it so far, and that is kind of odd that we haven't gotten answered. And that's the struggle that I kind of have with the fact that it jumps to the next story and next story and next story, is like it never really kind of 100% says things. So it's like, yeah, with him, it could have been the fact that he whispered in his ear that last time, she caused the death of your family, and then boosh, fear goes off. But it didn't really it kind of showed it building up over time. And it really did feel like it was almost like a culmination of everybody being there, being in unhappiness.
Because like even after he tells Lou that, he goes back in his room and he's getting all upset about the fact that everything's falling apart because she left, and he starts getting angry, and then suddenly he starts being overcome by it. They even showed Boa at some point, which would have been around the same time she started manifesting it separately. So there was several cases of it manifesting at that time, and which one was the origin is the question mark, I guess. But Lollies. I like the fact that his father even calls her Lolly. Like, wasn't her name Lily? Why wouldn't her father call her Lily? What was she? I don't think we've gotten her high enough to have it yet.
Yeah, she hasn't really.
She hasn't gotten high enough to manifest one.
She got stronger when everybody was trusting that she was a strong boy.
She's legit like, she's only powerful because of the suit that she has. So she has not even gotten trust value yet. Mm-hmm. So we won't actually get to. But she opens the door, obviously, to a bigger conspiracy about basically being Iron Man. She's legit like Iron Man. That she's a manufactured hero. So her being able to take on, like, essentially the past X, which was Shindig. The reason why she was able to is because of the suit that she had. It wasn't because she was super powerful. So we haven't gotten to the point where she'll have a manifestation. Queen. Did they imply Queen had one yet?
A curse or a power?
Curse.
Yeah, she's definitely control.
She control, yeah. I don't think they've manifested it for her either they? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I'd have to go back. Like, I feel like they've made some references here and there. I take notes every single week, but I think sometimes I forget what exactly they were. But interesting. But yeah, that's stuff I love. I guess we should. Oh, we got one question. We got one question. We were also going to have one question per week. Let's do one question real quick. Who do we have? And then we'll call it a wraps. Let's see, was the next person in the list. Again, at tacospirit.com, you can go there for our links for our Discord. It's also in the description of the podcast that we're currently on right now. DMH says, if you had to choose between giving away all your Roxy merch, which includes 1, 2, 3, 4, and a bunch of posters. Not that much. All your Roxy merch, or releasing a room tour video on YouTube within the next month, which would you do? I would just choose to do the unboxing video, or not the unboxing, the room tour. If I had to choose between two, I'll just do that.
If I had to choose between the two, I'll probably give up all of Andrew's merch.
Why would you do that? It's not like I'm going to, but the question is, if you had to between the two, what would you do? Just the room tour. It's not like I have to.
I mean, okay, I'll hold a gun to Andrew's head and make him do a room tour. I'm sorry.
It's just a simple question. One of the two. Do you have any Roxy merch?
No.
Then you can't give up anything. The question's not for you. The question's not for you, obviously. Thanks, DMH, for the horrible question. I'm joking. Linman May, I think that is. I hate the stupid streaming thing, disabling thing. What would you prefer? Melon pan, cream pan, yakisoba pan, or different kind of bread from Japan? I guess melon pan.
Melon pan was pretty good. I mean, we've tried at least 2 of them. Yakisoba we have not tried yet.
That doesn't sound right. It's probably fine. It just doesn't sound right to me in my head.
I figure that I've probably done something similar with ramen in a tortilla, but I know that it's not the same, and everybody's screaming at me right now, so I gotcha. It's fine.
Blasphemer! Axel Nee says, what is your favorite anime movie? Mine is Disappearance of Haruhi, even after all these years. Good question.
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh, probably still Wolf Children for me.
Yeah, I would assume that you'd probably stick with. I'm still.
I just watched it again recently. It was great.
Really?
I missed it.
Did you ever read it?
Nah.
I had it. I was curious if you read it. That is Annie chart. I want to say I only have like a few movies in my. Dang it!
AnnieList.co. It keeps going to Annie chart. I'm subconsciously writing Annie chart. I think I only have a few movies in my my 10 of 10s. I have A Silent Voice.
Silent Voice is really
Probably wouldn't say.
It wasn't as good as the books for me, and I give it an unconscious knock for that.
I have Grave with the Fireflies in there.
I'm never gonna watch it again.
And
I know I make that joke, but I'm dead serious about that. I will not watch it more than once. I love it. It's great. It's perfect, but I'm not gonna watch it again.
Princess Mononoke, Perfect Blue, Spirited Away, Wolf Children, and then one more in my 10 out of 10, which is probably going to be the one I would choose. Ghost in the Shell. I'm stuck between Ghost in the Shell and Princess Mononoke. I'd probably say Ghost in the Shell. I'd probably say Ghost in the Shell. Akira's pretty close to the 10 out of 10, but it has a problem with the ending kind of being blah because it's original. But I would probably say Ghost in the Shell. Like, I can watch Ghost in the Shell, like, over and over and over again. It's that good. I would even say Perfect Blue, too. But I don't know if I want to watch Perfect Blue again. Perfect Blue is kind of another one where it's like, I need a break. It's not like Grave of the Fireflies where like with you like now I'll never watch it again. It's like I just need a break and then I'll watch it again because it's super. It's definitely one of those ones you want to watch it again just because it's so like abstract and crazy that you'd want to see if you miss something. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell probably. I think Ghost in the Shell would be good. What else? I guess that. Where's my questions over here? I gotta make sure to mark them, otherwise I forget, and then we'll get in trouble later on. Oh, this actually is applying to this podcast. What the fan art says, your trust value is at an all-time high. What powers do you think your fans and followers will bestow upon you? Actually, that's an incredibly good question. Because it's not literally the question.
You will have the guns. You will have the guns.
Right?
You will have the guns.
The question isn't you have superpowers. What's your superpowers? It's what would your again, it's to the cleverness of To Be a Hero X. It's what your fans want you to be.
Mm-hmm. I already know. I'm getting AI powers.
You would legit turn into an AI. You would legit turn into a robot. We have manifested that into creation that you would be seen as a robot. Suddenly out of nowhere, you realize you never have to use the restroom again. You're like, I just realized I haven't had to use the restroom in like 3 days. Oh, I'm not digesting anything anymore. It just goes down into the stomach and it just evaporates.
I'm telling you, you'll get the guns.
I don't. That is definitely something you have to ask somebody else. So I guess I have to go with what you say there, because I can literally say what I think everybody says of you and what people see you as. Either that or, I mean, if it was like 10 years ago, it would be that you would be the horseman. To a horse. It's a dog. I would if it was like 10 years ago, back when we used to do the stupid recordings of the questions, I would be the monkey.
Yeah,
because everybody wanted me to do the monkey voice every freaking time I read anything. Please read this in monkey voice. Okay, I'll read it in the monkey voice. Ooh, ooh, ee, ee. I don't know. I almost want to pose that to everybody. What would you think my manifested powers would be? It would probably be something really degenerate. I'd be like the degenerate king or something like that. Because I think that I've been covering such degenerate shows for so long, people just view me as being degenerate. I don't think I'm that bad, though.
You don't think that they would consider me more degenerate than you?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
Okie dokie.
Just because I don't think you verbalize it as well as you think you do.
I just know that I was always the one that was going on about the ecchi shows and how I loved all the ecchi shows, and you're like...
Yeah, but see, the difference is I tried to explain it, whereas you You just say, I love this show.
I just love this show.
So it's left vague. So they're not really sure, what about it do you like? Do you like the main characters?
No, I like the panty shots.
Or do you like the perviness of it? I love this show about, was it HX Arrows? I love this show. For the main guy.
For the
His
main guy.
pecs are so hot. I love that guy.
No, that was you.
I love his pecs.
After all, you were totally into Kendra Suda.
That's just one guy. This is one guy. I have, by the way, finally bought Death Stranding. And I will play that in Japanese.
Just so that you can have
Kendra Suda.
Gotcha.
It's going to be difficult because I do like the English guy, the one that he's actually molded
Daryl?
after. Yeah, I want to call him Daryl, but I was trying to get his actual name. I do like him as an actor, and his voice is pretty solid. But Kendra Suda, dude. And now the reason why I bought it,
Now you got Daryl.
it was really
Daryl Pex with Kendra Suda's voice.
hillbilly Kendra Suda, basically. I can't un-hillbilly him out of my mind. He's literally a hillbilly, whereas Kendra Suda is always going to be seen as Yakuza. So it's a Yakuza hillbilly. What was I going to say? But no, it was on sale, so I decided to finally pick it up. And I'm like, I kind of want to know if I keep thinking I'm not going to like the game because it feels like FedEx driver simulator. But I kind of was like, what if it works for me? But two, I really want to play the second one because Pecора's on there. One of the deliveries is to Pecora, the VTuber. She's legit all over that damn game, and it's so freaking amazing that she's in there. But anyways, it looks really good too. But anyways, that's it. I'm gonna call it there. We appreciate you guys for dropping by and watching and listening. We hope you guys enjoyed this new format of the podcast, and hope it works out for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it as always. Again, we're at otakuspirit.com, where all our links are for social media, ways to get a hold of us, ways to support us, all that stuff. We greatly appreciate you guys' support. And until next time, I'll take care.
Os.